Before we start, the name is at the top right of the screen. The story begins with Duke Raymond announcing to Erin that he's gonna divorce her, throwing the divorce papers at her. The current highest-ranking lady in the empire, Erin von Levensburg. She is the daughter of a fallen noble family who took the role of the duchess and was accused of tormenting the poor lady who loved the duke. An indecent woman who shamelessly committed infidelity under the guise of a good wife. This is the story of the famous villainous duchess and her return as Erin de Brugge. When our female protagonist was young, she dreamt of a fairy tale, a happy ending where the poor lady marries a prince and lives happily ever after. When she turned of age, an attendant from the imperial palace came. He informed His Majesty would like to make the young lady Brugge the bride of the Duke of Levensburg. She thought her dream came true. The Duke is the son of the deceased crown prince and the first grandson of the current emperor. Capable and intelligent and excellent swordsman with the perfect looks. A person who lacks absolutely nothing, the heir to the empire. Our female protagonist's father was worried about why he picked his daughter. The attendant stated there are currently no ladies from prestigious families who are of age other than the young lady. All the other ladies who are of age come from families inferior to the Marquis. After the fall of Marquisate, her parents, who took on the burden of their debt, were unable to attend social gatherings of the aristocracy. So the attendant conveyed His Majesty's offer that if they accepted the marriage proposal, His Majesty had promised to support the family financially. As a result of the proposal, a wicked rumor circulated among the aristocrats. Our female protagonist, who was naive, happily accepted to marry him. Believing the words of the attendant, she had no doubt that she would have married life full of happiness. She knew if this marriage succeeded, their family would benefit greatly from it and her parents would be able to live comfortably. At their wedding, their duke whispered sweet words to her, confessing that it was an honor to have the beautiful and elegant young lady as his wife. To her, he seemed like a sweet and kind person. However, it did not take longer than a day for that dream to shatter. On their long-awaited first night, he declared he did not intend to spend the night with her as husband and wife. He told her she should be aware that this marriage was just a formality. The Duke left her with those words and did not return. It turned out that Duke had a lover from a lower-class aristocrat family that he had been hiding since his teenage years. It was an open secret amongst the nobility that he made an oath to his lover that he would make her the empress. Once it reached the emperor's ear, His Majesty quickly forced an arranged marriage between the Duke and her. When she had learned all the truth, it was too late. For the next 9 years it remained the same. She confessed she was not blinded by jealousy, nor did she ever torment her husband's lover. She was neither lavish nor arrogant. As the Duchess, she did her best to avoid doing things that would besmirch her honor. However, in the hopes of divorcing her, the Duke ended up lying and accusing her of infidelity. Before she even knew it. She became a wicked villain in the eyes of everyone without even doing anything. Even if she wanted to get divorced first, she had to hold it in because this marriage was His Majesty's command. Back in the present, as the Duke gives her the divorce paper, he lets her know there's no use even if she cries to him or pleads to the emperor. But to his surprise, she just wants to sign them. She silently signs the divorce paper and hands them back to him, smiling. The Duke does not seem happy by how unaffected she is. She also informs him that if he's going to marry his lover, he will have to renovate the palace, as she sold everything that could be sold for money in her quarters, which is why it looks better now. He is surprised she sold it. She confirms she did, since her lover might either throw away or change all the furniture when she comes to live in the palace. She sold what she could this morning as second hands. She questions why he is so surprised. He was the one who told her to use whatever she sees fit. She just did what he told. She then smiles and says since both of them had an affair, she understands that she won't be receiving palimony, but will he return her dowry right? He inquires what she wishes to do with that chump change. She doesn't understand why he is suddenly interested in her life, as for 9 years he did not care what she did, and now that they are divorced, he has become curious about what she is going to do. She thinks what he calls chump change is her family's entire fortune. her eyes lighting up at the sight of the desserts on the table. She smiles and casually informs him of her plan to open a dessert cafe. She reveals she has a dream that she had buried and forgotten for a long time. A pleasantly sweet aroma which tickles the tip of her nose. A round pastry made out of dough that has puffed and risen, which was made by her mother when her mother would offer her to try one. Her eyes would light up as she would eat and would compliment her mother that it was so soft and melting at the tip of her tongue. Her mother warned her this was a secret, but Erdens like them had a keener and better sense of taste than the Empire family. She also told her since she was her daughter who had inherited her blood, she would also be able to make cakes as delicious as these. That's when her dream became to be a baker and to open a store filled with delicious cakes. Back in the present, as she casts a fleeting glance around the opulent palace, she pledges to herself that she would never come back here. She is aware that this place did not suit her from the beginning. She then takes a look at the chandelier and realizes if she sells that she would make a lot of money with it. The soft cries of her maid jolts her from her thoughts, prompting her to turn her gaze back towards her, pleading Melly not to cry. Melly tries to obey and refers to her as Her Highness, but she corrects her that she's no longer Her Highness and she can just call her Erin. She also expresses her gratitude for everything. All these years she has always enjoyed the coffee and tea that she made. Unable to hold back, Melly ends up requesting her to take her along with her. She's taken aback by her sudden request. She continues if she could hire her as a maid, but Erin is now deep in thought. Few years ago, the importation of coffee coming from beyond the southern coast began. Coffee quickly rose in popularity amongst the aristocracy. Because of this, there are mates who are tasked to make teas and attendants who are dedicated to serving coffee. Among those was Melly, her maid, who was in charge of the beverages. She is also the only person in the palace who she has been close with. That's why she is sure that she will become a huge help in the future if she takes her in, but she also thinks about her situation. She only has enough money to only open a store for now. But before she can come up with her decision, the door swings open and Miss Brannon, who is the head maid of the Crown Princess Palace, enters. She informs her the maids are waiting for her to leave in order to clean the place. Erin is surprised because she didn't even bother to knock now, while Melly looks like she wants to run for the hills. For the last 9 years, Miss Brennan has been hostile towards her. A memory floods back in her mind of her accusing her of making mistakes and telling other nobles that she lived her whole life as a commoner, and no matter the title she received. Her upbringing as a commoner could not be disguised. She also couldn't understand out of all the people why did His Majesty even entrust the duties of the imperial palace to her? Count Brennan was the Duke's accomplice. He made his lover Serena enter the Brennan family in order to gain a title and raise her status among the nobles. She thinks to herself she endured her harassment before for her parents, but now she doesn't need to tolerate any more. Her father, who could not stand to see his daughter being neglected in the palace, volunteered to fight in the front lines to strengthen her position in the empire. He led the empire to victory, but did not come back alive. Not long after her father's passing, her mother, who was left alone, caught a disease that led to her death. Before dying, she apologized to her daughter for making her suffer. At their graves, she pledged to herself she would not live like that. Now she questions her if she came to say that on purpose and assures her she will be going now. Miss Brennan looks surprised. Noticing the expressions on her face, she states oh my, she doesn't understand, she is leaving. The woman bites her cheek, perhaps to restrain herself from uttering further nonsense. She then diverts her attention to poor Melly, who still looks like she will run for the hills at any moment. Pointing an accusatory finger at her, she questions what she is doing here. She tries to explain she just wanted to say farewell to her, but a sharp slap across the face shuts up the poor girl. The evil woman questions how dare she talk back. Melly, despite being innocent, apologizes to her, but she shouts at her to get out this instant. Erin can see that despite her presence she dares to do this. Erin calls her and states that if she thinks that there's absolutely nothing she could do, then she is surely mistaken. Kneeling down to pick Melly up, she instructs Miss Brennan to pack her belongings and leave the imperial palace immediately. The woman asks what does she mean. Aaron smiles and questions did not she hear it correctly. She is fired. Brennan taunts her that she's not even a duchess anymore. By what power she's firing her. She admits she is not the duchess now, but it is still in her hands. She possesses the seal of the empress. Just as the emperor handles important national affairs with the emperor's seal, the affairs of the imperial palace are handled with the empress seal. However, the empress passed away a long time ago and Raymond's mother, the crown princess, also died in labor. As a result, the current highest-ranking woman in the imperial palace is her. Brennan says, but she got it because she used to be the duchess. She states no, regardless of the title. His Majesty the Emperor personally entrusted it to her. He ordered her to manage the imperial palace, so her dismissal will be her last job. Clattering her teeth in her anger, she mutters that she should do as she pleases because when the new duchess comes in she will be reinstated anyway. Aaron agrees of course she can, but when? Will that be 3 months or 4 months? She thinks that while His Majesty is out on the battlefield, Raymond is arbitrarily proceeding with the divorce. Things won't be done quickly because when His Majesty returns he would not let it slide. She reminds her it would take a long time to get His Majesty's permission and hold a national wedding. She won't be able to come back to the palace until then, declaring that she will be unemployed for a few years. Now, the evil woman's face is pale and desperate as she attempts to reclaim her position. Aaron reminds her one last time that despite being a divorcee from the Duke, she is still the Marquis of Brisha. So why is she, the wife of a knight, treating her badly? Unable to respond to her, the woman turns her wrath towards the poor Melly, threatening her that she will deal with her later. But Aaron intervenes, announcing that Melly is coming with her. She offers Melly to join her, disclosing to her that she is thinking of opening a dessert cafe, and she will have to work harder than working here, but she will double her salary. Melly beams at her and readily accepts the offer, promising to work hard. She thinks to herself she cannot afford to hire an employee, but it is obvious that Miss Brennan will pick up on her if she leaves her here. But she hugs her anyway, thinking at least one person will be safe. She then looks back at Miss Brennan, telling her she is leaving now. The woman shouts at them to never come back again. She smiles and thinks to herself that even if she backs her to come back, she won't come. She then tells Melly she's waiting outside. She should go and get the things she needs. Now that she's alone, she closes her eyes and recalls the time when he signed the divorce papers. She always thought the world would collapse if she lost the title of the Duchess. She thought it was the only thing left in her empty lives, so she wanted to catch it somehow. But when she scribbled down the last letter and put down the pen, the feeling that came to her was something like freedom. On the other hand, Raymond, as he's working in his study, cannot help but keep picturing her when she announces she is going to open a dessert cafe. He wonders if she's going crazy because of the shock of the divorce. He also recalls the time when she first met him and introduced herself. He thinks if it wasn't for the opponent the emperor forced on him, he would not have treated her like that. He thinks to himself after 9 years of no marital relation and no complaints, it was like she completely became a different person. That's when his guard comes in and informs him that His Majesty the Emperor sent an urgent message. Perhaps it is about the divorce. When he places it on the table without even looking at it, the guard questions isn't he going to read it. He responds it is obvious, even without looking at it. It must be in order to cancel the divorce and bring Aaron back. The guard inquires what he is going to do when His Majesty returns, but the words die on his tongue when he also puts dessert, informing him Lady Irina sent it for him, but he looks at the dessert as if he holds a personal grudge with it and tells him to get rid of it. On the other hand, Aaron is with the property dealer and tells him she wants a house with a shop attached to it, a place where 2 women can live, and she would like a building with the storage downstairs and rooms above, and it should be cheap. The property dealer informs them there's a listing that's just right for them on Beeltrout Street. When they arrive there to look at it, Melly finds the place cute from the outside. The property dealer states there are many cute shops, and it's peaceful and quiet, and it's perfect for 2 women to do business. They are also informed this street is mainly inhabited by low-ranking officials and wealthy merchants. The shopkeeper rushed to the countryside and offered it at a lower price, and they can also keep the furniture as it is. But Aaron thinks the true reason could be the business was not going well. Melly exclaims that there is a garden at the back. When they check it, they find the garden beautiful and peaceful. Then they are also shown the first floor, where there is a living room, dining room, and a kitchen. Aaron was worried because there was no space in the store, but she can cook here in the kitchen. The property dealer then shows them the bedroom on the second floor and questions what is her opinion, is it to her liking. Aaron thinks if she views it from the business perspective, it's better downtown, but it's expensive, but the size would be appropriate for the two of them. She makes her decision and decides to take this place. Later, Aaron and Melly are cleaning the place. Melly offers to clean it up all alone, but Aaron assures her it's okay. She's not even the Duchess anymore. She then realizes it's already lunchtime and decides to make something. She deftly plucks the ripe lemons from the branches of the garden trees. Back in the kitchen, she squeezes lemon juice, mixes it with butter to make lemon curd cream, and puts in the pre-baked pie for the white puffed meringue on top of it. Finally, she lightly cooks it in the oven until the tip of the meringue turns golden. Her sweet and sour lemon meringue pie is ready. Melly enters the kitchen, announcing that she has finished cleaning, when the aroma of the sweets tantalizingly teases her nostrils. Melly is surprised she really knew how to cook because she thought it was just a rumor. Aaron informs her she made it for lunch and wants to know if she dislikes lemons, but she assures her she's good with all the fruits. When Melly takes her first bite, she feels the soft cream leaking through the savory pie, refreshing lemon flavor that spreads in her mouth, even the meringue that melts sweetly at the end. She compliments her that it tastes fantastic. She then questions did she learn to cook by herself, but she tells her her mother taught her. Her mother hated lemons in the Erden Mountains, believing they were a symbol of pain and trials, but she liked it when turned the lemons into lemon pie. Melly questions why would she believe that, especially since it is a fruit often used in the Empire. Aaron once had asked the same question, why did she think lemon is a symbol of suffering? Her mother had told her it's too sour. She was confused. Was that the only reason? Her mother instead asked her, isn't it strange how sour lemon turned sweet? And lemon pie was a dessert that overcame pain. Back in the present, Aaron replies to Melly that lemon pie is a dessert that overcomes pain. She thinks to herself it's the perfect dessert for her right now. Come to think of it, it was secretly made even in the imperial palace. It was only once, but she shared the pie with him and realized she couldn't even say goodbye. On the other hand, Calyx arrives at the palace and realizes it's been a long time since he came to the capital. Inside the palace, Brennan complains to Serena that she kicked her out, who's been in charge of the imperial palace for over 10 years. Serena tells her not to be angry. The evil woman reminds Serena well, soon she would become the Duchess, so there won't be a problem, and the Crown Princess Palace suits Serena more. She pretends to be humble and says how dare she would wish that, then questions if she heard that Aaron is opening a cafe. She tells her yes, she has already found a place to stay, and also storage, and even order the ingredients. Brennan questions shouldn't they stop her. Serena tells her not to worry too much. But the evil woman feels it would not be nice if the ex-duchess opened a cafe and people talked about it. Serena states she does not know much about cooking, but what a cafe can do without coffee. Her bad intentions are evident on her pretentious face. People wonder, now that the Duchess has been kicked out, is Serena going to be the new Duchess? They believe she will be because the Duke has not been with any other women other than Serena, but wonder if His Majesty would allow it. People call her a daughter of a low-class nobleman who bought a title with the money, and now she will be the Duchess. Serena knew people ignored her even after she became the daughter of a count. She just wanted to catch the Duke's eyes, so she coveted the position of a relative of the future Empress and pretended to treat her well in order to get acquainted with the Duke. She runs to the Duke when she sees him and greets him, thinking she can do anything if she gets the position next to him. She informs him there's a ball at Flynn's mansion. Is he aware of that? He tells her he heard. She then asks him if he can be his partner tonight. But before he can come up with a reply, Calyx interrupts them. He states, "Long time no see, brother." However, the Duke does not seem very pleased to see his brother and tells him he thought he was by His Majesty's side. Shrugging it off, he explains the atmosphere there was bad, so he came to the capital first, and their grandfather was in a bad mood, so everyone was just looking at him. It's so suffocating that he couldn't stand it. Archduke Calyx Reuton is the second in line to the throne and Raymond's only younger brother. The Grand Duke of Reuton is a family separated from the royal family a long time ago, but has been treated like a royal family for generations. Their father, the former Grand Prince, died saving his friend who is another prince. That prince ended up adopting Calyx to his friend's sacrifice. Serena greets him and bows her head in respect, telling him it's been a long time since he came to the capital, but he completely ignores her and asks for his brother's wife instead. Serena's devil-like eyes sharpen because she can't deal with it when she is not the center of attention. This pisses Raymond more because why is he asking for his ex-wife? He replies it's natural to wonder where she has been since they have lived together for 9 years. And isn't he curious? He reveals their grandfather was curious. Raymond narrows his eyes and says if he's curious, tell him to go find himself. Serena tries to grab his attention again, but he sharply cuts her off, saying it's not possible today. He has other meetings. However, Calyx is still stuck at the question, where did his wife go? Meanwhile, Aaron is making pastel pink with strawberry-flavored macaron, a sweet beige macaron filled with vanilla flavor, and a fragrant light purple macaron with blueberry powder and mint with pistachio. When the macarons are prepared, she states it's been a long time since she made them, but it turned out to be pretty good. She informs Melly that she made some macarons outside and tells her she just finished making coffee. Aaron questions. She suddenly made coffee. She explains she just wanted to do something for her. Sweet macarons and freshly brewed hot coffee, they enjoy it, and she compliments Melly that her coffee is the best. Melly in return also praises her for her macarons and that they are the best in the world. The smooth surface of the cut-off material gently broke, and the sweet taste filled her mouth, enchanting sweetness that touched the tip of the tongue. Melly realizes it's perfect with bitter coffee. Aaron agrees, and also that they're the best partners. Melly suggests there's a glass in front of the store that displays things. Why don't they show desserts over there? If they leave the real dessert, it will go bad soon, so they can make a model out of cotton or plaster and display it like it's real. Aaron answers like displaying sample dresses in a clothing store and realizes that's a good idea. Realizing Aaron likes the idea, she offers to work on it, and then questions when will the coffee beans arrive. She guesses it will probably arrive today. Think of the coffee beans, and the coffee beans have arrived like little devils. The one box cost 300 gold. Well, it's so precious and the family of Viscounts has a monopoly. There's nothing she can do about it. It cost her a lot of money, but it's a rare item that only comes in every few months, so she is glad she was able to buy them in the right amount. They wouldn't have to worry for a while. But when they see the coffee beans, they are shocked because the shape of the beans are unevenly distorted and there are traces of insect bites. Not to mention the smell of coffee. Melly gets mad and tells them it is in such bad condition when she is sure they ordered a high-quality product. He tells her he is sure he has brought the high quality, and if she doesn't like it, she can order again. But for reference, the following items will arrive in 2 months. Melly is surprised and does not know what to do now should they get a refund. Before she can reply, the man interrupts them and informs them that because of the policy at the top of them, the beans are not refundable. She thinks it's a very high-quality item, so they will treat it with care, but it still breaks or rots in the manufacturing process, and it seems like only those beans that were broken in the manufacturing processes are collected and especially sent to her. Melly's eyes get glassy as she inquires what should they do. They cannot even open a store if there's no bean. She holds her delicate hands in both of hers and assures her not to worry and stops the guys before they can leave, instructing them to move these crates to another location for a fee. Glacier Mansion was a gambling house exclusively for nobles. The guard stares at her as she arrives. He greets her as he mentions that he will take her inside. She responds all right as she steps in, pondering that she heard gambling is going on. She notices that it is more colorful than the rumor. She calls out to an attendant, questioning if he happens to know where the Viscount Arndt is. He responds that he will be in the second drawing room on the right side of the second floor. She's aware that the Arndt family, who had been trading with the southern countries, had a monopoly on coffee, fruit, and several other specialists of the country. But as the coffee head, they became rich in a day, and thanks to this Arndt Jack, who was giving exclusive rights for generations, spent his entire life in gambling houses and brothels. She stands in front of the room as she wonders if this is the second drawing room. She knocks on the door as the man inside tells her to listen to whoever she wants. She calls out to him as she tells him it has been a long time. She questions if he recognizes her. Jacques becomes angry as he notices she's the Duchess, questioning, "What is she doing here?" She tells him that she is here to help him. He asks her is not she Lady Marquess, telling her that Lady Erin. He asks if she's here to gamble, and if she is actually here to gamble, then she came to the wrong floor because she has to go downstairs for that. She responds that she's not here to gamble. She came to see him, and she has something to tell him about the product that he sent her. He asks her why and questions if she doesn't like it. He thinks, what if she doesn't like it? The Duke threw her out, so she has no power to complain about it. She states that is not the case and mentioned it is a very good thing. She thought that the product she got was good, so she sent it to the Imperial Palace as a gift for His Majesty. He becomes shocked as the glass falls down from his hand. He stands up, hesitantly mentioning, but she ordered it for her store. She tells him she did and states, but now that she thinks about it, Blackie would have been better for dessert. He thinks about the coffee beans as she continues. She calls out to him, questioning, "He did not send her a trashy one, did he?" Obviously, she ordered expensive beans that cost 300 gold for a box, and shows him the order confirmation as well. He begins to grade in frustration as he ponders that he thought she was stupid, and thinks that she is going to get him done. He tells her that is of no use and states that if he asks for forgiveness that it was a servant's fault. Even if he was reprimanded by His Majesty, he will forgive him. He leans in towards her assistance. Then he will compensate her for the beans, and it will be over, and he will give her the money so she can take it. He also tells her to never even dream of getting the beans from now on, as he will never sell it to her. She warned us that he has always been threatening everyone like this, as he continues telling her that she is right. His merciful Majesty will forgive the mistakes of his servants, however. She questions what about the other merchants, telling him that an incompetent merchant who cannot even tell if he is selling high-end products or rotten trash has a monopoly. Then does not he think that the other merchants will object to this unfairness? He becomes hesitant as she mentions that he must have been flustered because he did not think that she would come out like this. She's aware that if it was her in the past, then she would not be able to see anything and force herself to laugh. She is aware now that it's not anymore the case, as she tells him if he wants to maintain a monopoly, then he should give her the right beans, and then she will contact the Imperial Palace and ask them to return the box of beans. He seems to be very frustrated before he turns around and tells her that he will send her 300 goals of highest quality as she ordered. She asks him to send her 600 goals as he turns around, questioning what does she mean. She tells him that it is his fault, so he has to compensate for the damage, including the cost of the hard work. He tells her what it is, twice as much as she states. Then it cannot be helped if he does not like it. She decides to rise as she tells him it was nice meeting him. He calls out to her, telling her to wait. He tells her that he will do everything she wants. She responds that is a wise decision. As she gets out of his room, she is feeling really happy as she realizes it is perfect that this fraudulent behavior seems fishy. She decides to go and let Melly know about it. As she is leaving, a man grabs her hand, telling her that this face is his type and asks her what is her price. She asks him to let go of her hand as he questions, why is she being so cold? She wonders. She cannot believe such a jerk can come in and out. He tells her that he will not let her be upset. She kicks him real hard as he falls down on the ground and curses at her. She turns around as she ponders that it seems like she will get bothersome and realizes that she has no choice but to reveal her identity. Before she can do that, someone states it is very noisy. It is His Highness. She ponders that she knew she might meet him again someday, but she did not know that he would meet again in an unexpected place like this. She greets him as His Highness as the man flinches in fear. He begins to apologize to him, telling him that he was just talking to her and he got drunk and he was being before His Highness calls out to him and asks him to apologize to her. He apologizes to her as she ponders as he was being arrogant just now and thinks that, as expected, the future emperor must be scary. His Highness then commands the man to go ahead. The man lies as His Highness tears at her, telling her that he did not expect to see her again. Here she responds that is right as she did not know he had this kind of hobby, questioning if Miss Serena know about this. He stays silent for a while before he tells her if she does not have enough money, then she should better ask for any money. She should not go in and out of places like this. She wonders if he thinks that she is here to gamble. She asks him to not get her wrong as she tells him that she just came to the door to see someone for store work. He questions a store, asking if she's really thinking of doing something like a cafe. She responds yes, she is. He states that he knows she has a grudge against Serena, but he tells her that she does not have to go so far to get back at him. She has no idea what he is talking about as she asks him that. He asks her is not this because Serena and she has a grudge? She finds it unbelievable as she looks at him, wondering how can his thinking be so self-centered. She thinks about the past when Serena apologized to her, telling her it is all her fault. People would wonder if she is jealous because the Duke loves Serena, as well as they would say that she is a fallen aristocrat with a lot of debt, mentioning that they feel sorry for Serena. Even His Highness would tell her that he heard from the maid that she picked on Serena again this afternoon. She would say that is a misunderstanding. She is aware that, from the beginning in the Duke's heart, there was not any room for her. He told her to not be unnecessarily loud. She thinks about all this as back in the present. She asks him to not get her wrong as she's trying to set up a shop, but it is not because of Serena. She tells him that she wants to have her store. It is something that she has been wanting for a long time, and that is it. She thinks that they set up a small cafe. Such a simple dream of wanting to live peacefully with the person you love. Knowing that, he probably will not understand that. He asks her what she tells him. If he does not have anything more to say, then she will leave. She decides to turn around. He asks her to wait, telling her that it is not like they had a good relationship in the last 9 years, but he does not want her to suffer. He also states that if she needs money, then he will give it to her so she can do what she wants and stay comfortable. He states if there is anything else that she wants, then she can tell him. She thinks about it as she wonders if it was 9 years ago, then she knows, no doubt, as this one word must have made her feel like an idiot as she bows. She is aware, but now there is no place for him in her heart. She tells him that she does not want money and she will never see him again, telling him to not be interested in her business anymore. She lives as he stands there quietly. He wonders what the hell is wrong with her. A man calls out to His Highness, questioning why is he here, as His Highness responds that it is nothing. They quietly go inside a room as His Highness asks the man if he sent the money properly. The man responds that they will be able to get the weapons supplied within this month. His Highness asks Sam to deal it without making any mistakes. It is already night time as she ponders that it was a tiring day in many ways. She notices that it is clean as she calls out to Melly, questioning where is she, telling her that they can get the beans again. Melly calls out to Aaron, realizing that she is back. She informs Aaron that they have a visitor. It is a man as he calls out to her. Aaron is shocked as she calls out his name, which is Ainz. She asks him, did he not go to the south under His Majesty's order? Questioning how can he be here? He mentions that he came in haste as soon as the war was over and heard about her. She asks him what kind of news. He states that back then he should have told the truth. If he had stayed here instead of going south, then she would not have suffered such as injustice. She smiles as she looks at him, Ainz von Lefnen. He is the head of the current order of the Holy Sword. Her sweet childhood friend. Flashback. He called out to her and told her that he had something to show her. He covered her eyes as he took her somewhere, telling her that they are here. She asked him when she opened her eyes. The moment she died, he wished her a happy birthday as she saw a cake. She became really excited as a woman mentioned that she asked Ainz what he was doing, and he said that he wants to give Aaron a present. She took a bite top the cake as she told him that it was delicious and thanked him. She blushed, and so did he. He told her that he will make her a cake every birthday, as he promised that to her. But the promise was not kept, as after some time she asked him if he is going to military academy. He told her that she can take night lessons there, and he will often write letters to her. She told him that she will be lonely. Around the age of 16. He who entered the military academy as a child became a knight as it was. And she also moved to the Marquis mansion, so she could not meet him anymore. 13 years later, the women were questioning that a leader of the Knights of the Holy Sword has changed, right? Questioning one another if they saw the new leader's face. One told the others that young ladies are already in line to talk to him. She was sitting alone as she wonders that she cannot get used to this kind of place. His Highness looked at her as he smiled. He went nearer as he told her that they have not met for a long time. This is what he had said. In order to successfully enter the imperial palace, she had to make connections such as family or personal connections. And this family friend, friendly childhood friend, was who was the only son of Layman. She knows it must have been a tremendous effort to cut good point. He told her that his talk is over and asks her if she is okay, questioning if she heard about it. She wondered if he's already talking about Serena and the Duke. She did not think that it will get there. She told him that it is nothing and asked him to not mind before he questioned how could he not care. He also asked her if she's sick. He told her that he is very sorry he could not come with her, mentioning that he will definitely come to see her next time no matter what happens. He questioned. It was hard, was not it? She knew that it had been a while since anyone has shown concern and interest in her as a duchess. She told him that she is fine really and thanked him for his concern. She also thought that there would be no more people who would care about her. Thinking about his purple eyes with a soft glow are the same as when they were kids, and it made her feel a little nostalgic. Since that day, she sometimes met with Ainz and talked about various things. They regularly meet openly in crowded places so that no one can suspect and misunderstand. She knew that she should be more careful as a rumor could be created because of her. And she has been out for too long, so she knows she should go back now that the banquet is almost over. She notices something as she wonders what is that before she covers her mouth in disbelief. She thought that nothing would happen if she was more careful. Until that happens, she called out to him, asking him to wake up. Seeing all the blood surrounding him, she knew that it was a terrible smell of black blood. Realizing that it was the poison of the devil monster's venom is a poison that is mixed with evil energy, and if not treated then the whole body will be eroded and die. She ponders that she thought the reason why Ainz sometimes had a bad compression was because he was tired, and realizes that she cannot believe he was hiding a secret like that. Suddenly someone calls out to someone, telling her that the view in this park is very nice. The two women are conversing together as she realizes that someone is coming. She was aware that she has to hide him, and knowing that the poison of the devil is not contagious to others, but the infected body is at risk of becoming a new demon, she ponders that if he was found to have been poisoned, then instead of being saved, he would be executed. He opened his eyes a little as she called out to him, questioning if he has woken up. He saw the situation of his body before she told him it is all right, and she will keep the wound a secret, so he should not worry. She told him that they need to be quiet now as she heard people coming around here. He told her that if she stays with him, then she will be in trouble and mentioned that she has to go back to the palace right now. With a worrisome look, questioned how can she leave him alone. Someone mentioned that it looks like there's a cat in the glass as she covered his mouth. She wondered if the people passed before the woman appeared in shock. The rumor spread in an instant, and in the middle of the night a man and a woman hide in the bushes, the duchess who was neglected by her husband and the young and handsome knight commander. That must have been the perfect material for people who love gossips. The king asked her if she could explain what happened. She knew that if she tell him the truth, then it won't be good, as she stated that she did not do anything. He commanded to send the leader of the sword knights to the south and wrap this up. So Ainz went to the battlefield in the south, and she received the divorce papers. Know that she thinks about it. She finds it strange as the timing was so amazing, as if someone had planned it on purpose. She tells him that she is fine thanks to him, and she was able to get this store, and she's really enjoying it. She reports that she is really relieved to be divorced as she smiles. He smiles back as she questions if he is okay now and asks about the poison. He tells her it is much better, and the medicine that he got from the north began to work on him. She states that she is glad to hear that and tells him that she does not want him to disappear. He blushes as she tells him if he wants to reveal the truth, then he should tell her before he has cured all of this, as they can then safely tell the truth. She asks him to promise her, as he mentions he will. She states that it has been so long since they met and states that she will make something delicious for him. She asks him to wait here as she goes out to look for some vegetables. He joins her as he mentions that he will help her. She asks him if he remembers making cakes for each other on their 9th birthday. He responds that he remembers and questions how can he forget flashback. She wishes him a happy birthday, telling him that she made it herself. She also states that he said he never got a cake for him. He is astonished as she asks him to hurry up and try it. He takes a bite as she questions what does he think? How does it taste? He told her it is delicious, as he pondered that he will probably never forget the taste of that cake for the rest of his life. She remembers as she mentions that the shape of the cake she made for him at that time was not so good, and tells him that she was proud because he was so happy. He tells her no. His one was worse, as he learned from her mother and made it, for the cake did not rise, so it was hard and a total mess. He laughs as she tells him what it was. Really delicious. He blushes as he is aware that even as an adult, he thought that he would be the one to be next to her, wanting to stand proudly in front of her. He volunteered to be sent to troops in dangerous areas in the north, thinking that if he made a great contribution to the battlefield and gained fame and fortune, he would be the one to be with her. He thought that he would have the courage to formally propose to her. Flashback. He checks a newspaper as he ponders that it seems that high-ranking people in the imperial palace are getting married. In the capital, banquets are held almost every day, and they are struggling in the danger zone on the outskirts like this. He cannot see the face very well. The one featured in this article is undoubtedly her. He knew that she has become a duchess. After that, the duchess took over the position without knowing the subject. Rumors were heard everywhere that she was jealous of his duke's young lover. He knew that it was hard to get into the palace, but he got the position he wanted and went too far and caught himself poisoned. This resulted in her getting hurt, and regret followed after. She does say that she thinks this much tomatoes are enough and asks him to let's go back in. He tells her he will hold them for her. She thanks him as she mentions he is still very kind. He states that it is not even a big deal. She mentions there are a lot of people in the world who cannot do that little thing, so he can brag more. He ponders that he thought no matter who she marries, he could give up as long as she was happy. But when he looks at her, he keeps thinking about that he wants to stay by her side. He's aware that to her who was falsely accused because of him, he is aware that it is shameless to think this way. He wonders that once this disease is cured, and even if it cannot be cured, someday he will tell her the whole truth of the day for her. So until then, he wishes that she can forgive him for being by her side. She is washing the tomatoes and cooking as Melly tells her that she's done chopping the ingredients and asks her what they are planning to make. Erin responds that she's thinking of making tomato stew. Melly asks her is not that hard to make. She responds that it is simpler than she thinks. First is to stir-fry beef in a heated pan. Then, when the meat is cooked, add the sliced vegetables and stir-fry them together at the stay. Fried ingredients to the broth along the spices and tomatoes, and then boil it down, and that is a special tomato stew, which is done. She tells him that it is not that big of a dish, but wishes that it suits his taste. He thanks her for the food as they began to eat. He takes a bite before he begins to eat it fastly. She asks him to slow down before he finishes all of it. He mentions that it was really delicious, and he tells her that he ate a lot of food in the north, but her food is the best. Melly also agrees with him, talking about the fresh taste of tomatoes and the perfect harmony of the deep taste of meat and potatoes. Melly asks Ainz if he would like another bowl. He tells her that she makes delicious food like this, and she is especially good at making desserts, telling her that as soon as she will open the store, he is sure that it will be a hit. She smiles before he states, "Come to think of it," he questions if she has decided the name of the store. She responds that actually there's a name that she has been thinking about for a long time ago. Melly and him both are excited. She mentions Lemon Tree at the same time in Count Flynn's mansion. It is a beat-up as one woman states that Serena is very beautiful today, and the praise of being the best beauty in the empire is not a waste. Serena responds that they flatter her. Another woman states that she heard the news that the Duchess was divorced for an affair, so she mentions actually before she flinches, as it is informed that His Highness is here. The people call out to him, telling him that it has been a long time since he has been here, and asks him how can he be so handsome. They state that he looks exactly like his mother, who was the most beautiful woman in the capital. He looks towards her before he looks away, as the woman stated that he just looked over here. She seems to be aware of the fact that he still hates her. Calyx has been like that since a long time ago. He is Her Highness' only brother. She imagines going to him before he ignores her completely, realizing that it is not mocking or insulting, but just complete ignorance. She knows that she does not want to look like that in front of other people. She asks the people if she can go and see her stepfather, and asks them to excuse her for a moment. She lives as people begin to talk, questioning if they are aware that the exiled Duchess opened a shop in the east of the capital. A woman states that she said she was going to set up a cafe that sells cake like a coffee house. The other woman questions why did she go to that kind of place when she could have just come here to the capital if she were going to open a cafe. They think that she must want to avoid attention of the people and be with the commander of the night. They continue as they mention that they know maybe she went to such remote place to live together with her secret lover. She's aware that no one would see fit were at such a remote place. It is perfect for all lovers to live secretly. Calyx approaches one of the women and questions, "What does she mean by lover?" Calyx approaches the women and respectfully asks one of them, "What does she mean by the Duchess lover?" The women freak out when they see him. He apologizes for startling them, but tells them he heard something interesting while passing by, so he stopped. He acts like a gentleman and asks for their forgiveness for listening to the conversation. Charmed by him, the women soon lose their guards around him. The red-haired one tells him there's nothing to forgive. It's not a big deal. He then brings the topic back to the rumor and questions, is it about his sister-in-law? He states there were so many things happening while he was away from the capital. The women hesitate to tell him because they are aware rumors about Eric's affair was a subject that the emperor himself banned. Seeing their hesitation, he assures them he's just asking because he's curious, ensuring them this is not the imperial palace and that his grandfather said he would punish the person who spoke the rumor at the imperial palace. The woman is aware, no matter what happens. The emperor would forgive Calyx, though, and wonders, is it okay if she tells him? 3 seconds later, she ends up blurting out the rumor, claiming that the Duchess or the former Duchess was hugging Ainz, the commander of the knights, in the darkness of the garden. She accuses them that they hid themselves in the grass, and it was obvious what they were doing in such a place. She also informs him that she heard after the divorce she set up a cafe on the outskirts of the capital. She tries to say something else, but is cut off by him. He questions next she is going to say it's a disguise to meet her hidden lover more often, right? The woman beams at him and says exactly. Calyx says okay and questions, by the way, did she see it herself? The woman is taken aback by his question and says no, it's not her but Mrs. Melvin. He then inquires if she saw it herself. She responds not that, but Count Lionel told his wife. She's cut off sharply as he questions once again if Count Lionel saw the same then. The other women start feeling uncomfortable as well, and she hesitantly tells him that he actually heard from a maid. He believes that she must be one of those people who witnessed the scene and wants to know her name. The woman tries to reply but is unable to form a proper response and starts sweating. He confronts her that it's a story told by someone she does not even know, and she was talking about it as if she had seen it herself. Too late, the woman now realizes she made a mistake. She knows, no matter how friendly he is, His Highness Calyx is the only Grand Duke in the Empire, and since he's being blatantly favored by His Majesty, she should not have said anything to him. The trembling woman apologizes to him. He leans in closer, whispering a warning in her ear that if she wishes to live, she shouldn't utter anything that is useless. After the woman acknowledges his word, he leaves them, going straight to the balcony. He thinks this is why he hates the capital. Such ridiculous nonsense, and what lover. The palace was a place where countless city servants and maids roamed. There were countless guards and soldiers in the palace, officials and nobles coming and going all day long. He believes if she really wanted to hide and meet her lover, she would have rather used the secret room in her palace than secretly meeting in the garden of the palace. He is sure she was never a person to do such a thing. He jolts out of his thoughts when someone calls him. It's a knight informing him there is news from the south. The news says that His Majesty is returning to the capital. The next day, the weather is very warm and a woman is feeling very hot. She thinks it's not even summer, but it's too hot. Where can she rest nearby? That's when her gaze falls on the cafe. She looks at the cafe and wonders, when did this place open? She steps in, thinking if it's a coffee house, because they can only see the coffee house if they go all the way to the capital, and this place is secluded. She looks around, observing everything and realizing it looks pretty good as she settles down. Melly rushes to her and asks her what she would like to order. The woman is a bit nervous about ordering desserts from the store she has been to for the first time and decides to go with a glass of iced tea. However, with her order also comes a scone provided as opening service. The woman realizes it's the first day of business and considers herself lucky. When she tastes it, she's left in awe. Unlike ordinary scones, these scones are savory and soft. It melts gently at the tip of her tongue. Their customer praises them that she has never had such a delicious scone. Erin tells her she added cream to make it smoother, and it tastes even better if she eats it together with strawberry jam. The customer looks at her and acknowledges she's such a beautiful person. The woman realizes fresh and sweet strawberry jaw combined with savory butter-flavored bread tastes great, and the refreshing iced tea with a subtle scent of black tea. It's a great combination. The customer also ends up ordering mill fuel too. The woman thinks it looks appetizing, and it's a dessert that is usually hard to eat in the cafe. She has never seen it in person. When she tastes it, once again she's left in awe and comments it is really delicious. Later, Erin realizes the service scones are almost finished and there are many customers, and she thinks it's good for the first day of business. She has also been making cookies, so she decides to serve them in the afternoon. She realizes that all of a sudden, the store has gotten quiet and questions Melly what is the matter. Before Melly can answer, the butler from the palace appears in front of her and greets her. He informs her His Majesty is looking for her. A memory of 9 years ago floats back in her mind. His Majesty sincerely apologized. He told her honestly that he heard the story that after their wedding, Raymond often belittled her and bullied her. He knew she was not welcome in this marriage, but he did not expect it to be so serious. He lowered his head in shame as he admitted everything was his fault and once again apologized. Erin felt uncomfortable and told him it was really okay. He should raise his head. She expressed that she was really grateful to him for what he did for his parents. That's when His Majesty promised her that as long as he's alive, he would definitely help her with whatever she wants. Back in the present, the butler informs her that His Majesty has ordered him to bring her to the palace. She questions him if he allowed her to return. The butler tells her it is said that His Majesty wants to ask for help to do some things. She thinks to herself he's still the same as before and thanks him for coming here for her, but lets him know she has no intention of going back there. She tells him to pass on her thanks to His Majesty. The butler does not insist and bids her farewell. But before he can leave, she tells him to wait a minute and packs some desserts for His Majesty. She states although it is small, this is all her sincerity and requests him to pass it along with her words to His Majesty. The butler conveys her words to His Majesty. He thinks this was predictable, but as expected it was bitter. He then orders him to call Raymond over. Raymond greets His Majesty. Without returning his greeting, His Majesty just tells him to sit down. He gets to the point and questions if he's aware why he called him here today. Raymond replies both of them discussed before leading to this divorce decision. Besides other normal couples, when they feel they are not compatible with each other or no longer have feelings for each other, they also divorce. His Majesty the Emperor states those two are the future Queen and the future Emperor, not an average normal couple. Raymond says yes. He knows that. Therefore, the rumor of her having an affair cannot be allowed to tarnish the royal name. His Majesty rubs his forehead anxiously, thinking he thought that Calix and Raymond, who were well educated, would be very wise. He wonders how could this kid not listen to him. He recalls the time when His Majesty had ordered Raymond to get married, but he had questioned how he could force his heart to marry someone he did not love. His Majesty had countered, so was he planning to continue to ignore Aaron and bring another girl into the palace? Back in the present, His Majesty is determined that Raymond's partner must be Aaron. He counters that the rumor he claims has no concrete proof. How can he believe that rumor and divorce the wife who has been with him for the past 9 years? He reminds him Aaron is a good and intelligent child. Especially she knows how to take care and manage this palace very well, and she treats them all well too. Raymond smirks and tells him that he has always been generous to her. He suggests why does not he go and make peace with that future queen now, reminding him the divorce proceedings have already been completed, so if he decides to get along with that woman, he's not going to interfere. Before he can utter another indecent word, His Majesty hurls his tea at him in a fit of rage. The Duke's eyes widen in disbelief. Butler rushes to him with a handkerchief. His Majesty states firmly that he hopes he will bring Aaron back here. The Duke counters that it is not possible. She has already agreed to a divorce. His Majesty reminds him without his permission, they cannot get a divorce. He states he is the Emperor and he is his grandson. If he wants a divorce, he has to come back here to ask for his permission first. He then orders him to bring Aaron to meet him in person. He repeats again, like he said the divorce proceedings are, but is cut off sharply by His Majesty, who claims he does not understand this is not a request. The Duke storms into his chamber. Serena is startled as he orders everybody to get out. When she tries to talk to him, he narrows his eyes at her and tells her sharply that she didn't listen. He told everybody to get out. She paces outside his chamber anxiously, thinking obviously something went wrong. She now realizes how stupid it was of her to think that if Aaron disappeared, she could become the new Duchess. She reveals that party night, it was her who created a cause for them to get divorced. She put drugs in the night's Captain wine. The drug was not used properly, so it did not create a streaming situation as she thought it would. Even so, at this point, she thought His Majesty would give up on that girl and accept her. But not only did he not recognize her, but also stripped Crown Prince Raymond of his ordination ceremony. Jealousy courses through her as she ponders what is there in her that is better than her. She thinks he would only give up if she disappears, right? The nobles talk about the rumor that the person who used to work in the palace has opened a shop on the east side of the capital. The other woman agrees that she has heard that too, and claims someone personally came to the palace to bring her back. She reveals that desserts have already been delivered to the palace. They all wonder, after all, what kind of person is that shop owner. The same customer from that day tells them she does not know her well, but she thinks she's someone very close to the people in the palace. She saw that the front of that shop had the royal inscription. Their first customer also tells her friends she also went to their shop recently. Looking back at the deserts, they are also very high class. She also wonders if it's possible to manage the expenses with a normal cafe owner's revenue. However, the other woman says she heard that all of that is just rumors though, because if it was true, the shop would have been promoted, right? But they still wonder why the palace did not deny the rumors. But they believe sending dessert to the palace is really the truth, isn't it? On the other hand, Erin is baking a cake. Since there were many guests, she did not have time to rest. She wanted to say hello to Ainz since she received her gift from Ainz. She recalls how Melly had come earlier and told her to come out. There was furniture in front of the shop. They were all expensive items. She had asked her if she ordered these items, but she told her no, it's not. This was the first time she was seeing this. The man asked if she was Erin. On her acknowledgement, the man gave her something and told this was a message their customer wanted to send to her. Ainz, her first customer, had sent them to her as a gift. Back in the present, she thinks there wasn't need to send this much, and she's worried because she's also in business, so she had to spend a lot. She takes out the cake out of the oven. The color is also very beautiful and has a faint apple flavor. Looks like it's going to be delicious. As she carries the cake from her kitchen to the shop, she hears escalating commotion nearby. Drawing closer, the noise intensifies. Suddenly, she sees someone hurling insults at Melly and impulsively shoves her, causing Melly to tumble to the floor. Melly tells Erin this is the person she talked about last time. The man asks where is the owner of this shop and what kind of teaching he teaches her employee. Erin moves forward, letting the man know she is the owner here. She asks him what's wrong for him to be so disrespectful. He claims that he paid Melly 10 golds, but she said it was 10 silver and made her look like a scammer. Melly thinks when he paid, he gave her the money and kept insisting it was gold and demanded the changes. The man knows this shop is only run by 2 women and believes it will be easy to scam them. That's when a customer sitting there tells Erin that she was also there and she saw he only gave 10 silver coins. Erin points out that they are also witnesses who claim he only gave 10 silver coins. However, the man callously hurls his bag directly into her face with force. He states clearly he brought some gold coins with him. Does he have to take it out for her to believe him? Erin picks up the bag from the floor and checks, and it is indeed gold coins. The man says with smug expressions that now she's going to believe him and asks her to give his money back. But to his surprise, she throws the coins right back into his face. She says he needs to try counting it again. It seems that not only he needs to learn etiquette, but also has to relearn basic counting. The man screams at her, "Is she crazy?" and raises his hand to hit her. But before he can do so, a sword strikes him forcefully from behind, causing him to stumble and collapse to the ground. Erin looks at the man and tells him if he had not come, she does not know what would have happened. Calyx sheaths his sword and offers her a warm smile. He then leans in closer and whispers, "Long time no see, sister-in-law." The man starts trembling and Calyx looks at him and apologizes for what happened. However, he then places his foot on his back. The man groans in pain. He turns his attention back to Erin and asks if she would let him kill him. She panics and blurts out not to kill him. Confused, he murmurs why. She reasons with him who would want to eat desserts at a cafe where a murder took place. He realizes she is right. Calyx then tells the man if he heard it so he should get lost. Erin apologizes to her customers for the fuss. Feeling his presence behind her, she turns to face him and asks why did he come here. He replies that his sister-in-law opened a store. So he came here because he was curious. He teases her that she's living more thrillingly than he thought. She tells him well. The fact that this happens every day is not true and expresses her gratitude for his help. She then nervously glances back at her customers and tells him there are a lot of people watching here and offers him to go in with her and have a cup of tea. That is when Melly interrupts them, telling Aaron there is an order outside. He realizes she is busy and says he shall return. She asks him he is leaving. He tells her yes, and it is okay because he just came to visit his sister's law shop. She wonders, did he really just come to watch? She then goes out to receive the order. The man tells her he came by the order of Lady Katerina of the Labans family. She wants to order a sachertort from here for tea time in 2 days. She realizes it's Lady Katerina, the Prime Minister's granddaughter. She's the daughter of her duchy, and there would be no need for her to order a cake from such a small shop. The man also tells her that the lady wants her to bring the cake she made herself. Aaron realizes it seems that she doesn't genuinely want to eat the cake. It is clear that there is an ulterior motive, but she convinces herself there is no reason for her to be scared and run away. She smiles at the man and lets him know she accepts the order. The next day, she's making pastries. Calyx appears behind her out of nowhere and tastes it and questions how it can be this delicious. She asks His Highness what is he doing here. He inquires if she starts working this early. He just came to see her sister-in-law work and also wants to eat desserts. Aaron thinks now that she is divorced, he is not her brother-in-law anymore, so he should stop calling her that. He looks at him and thinks he's always had an easygoing personality. Archduke Calyx, he lost his parents early and was adopted by the Crown Prince, who was also a friend of his biological father. But 2 years later, the Crown Prince also fell ill. Taking pity on this, the Emperor treated him like his own grandson and raised him as a pampered child. It is thanks to that the Grand Duke has no worries and has a free-spirited personality. She recalls that time when she was newly married and went to the imperial palace and how shy she really was. He would always follow her, asking what she's doing, wanting her to spend time with him, offering him cake. When she would apologize that she was really busy, he would just smile at her and tell her he would just watch her work. As she was working, she noticed he must be bored and told him there were cookies for the guests on the table over there and he could eat them. She was immersed in her work, but once in a while she would steal glances at him, and he was looking so cute eating cookies silently, she smiled. The strict imperial etiquette and the duties of the duchess, she was not accustomed to it. The harsh life of the imperial palace, full of people criticizing and arguing about her. The friendly boy's unruly visit was a small consolation to her. After he became an adult, he left for his own state. After that, they could no longer meet. Now that she looks at him, she did not expect to meet him again like this. She tells him watching her work would be boring and suggests him to go somewhere else for sightseeing. He frowns, telling her it's not fun to go somewhere else. The capital is really boring. He tells her his state is 100 times more pleasant. There's no one bothering him there. She smiles at him, reminding him His Highness is the Grand Duke of the Duchy of Reuten. He looks at her and asks her if she wants to come over. If she is his guest, everyone will be nice to her. She tells him she needs to do work. He questions where she's going. She explains she wants to move the pastries to the store as they are for sale tomorrow. Before leaving, she glances back at him and tells him if he wants something, there are cookies on the cupboard so he can have them. He smiles, telling her departing figure that he's past the age of liking things like that. He realizes she seems to be doing better than he thought. When she was in the imperial palace, she could not voice her thoughts against anything she did not like and would always hold it in. He recalls the scene from earlier and thinks it's the first time he has seen her take a stand like that. He looks proud as he thinks he has changed a lot while he was away. Aaron asks Melly how's the food modeling going on. Melly noticed Aaron and states that first of all she made macarons and questions if she wants to try it. Aaron responds that they're well made as expected, stating that she's good with her hands. Aaron tells her that now she'll be out for a while and mentions that His Highness is still inside, so she should see if there is still anything that he is uncomfortable with. Melly responds all right, as she mentions that it's late and asks Aaron where is she going. Erin responds that she's going to buy some ingredients on Bayard Street, stating that if she's going to make Lady Katarina's cake tomorrow, then she'll have to prepare it in advance. Melly tells her that it's going to be dark soon, so she will go and come back. But Melly states that she has to check the ingredients herself. She tells Melly that she'll be back soon. Meanwhile, Raymond is riding a carriage as he calls His Majesty an old man. He told her to bring Erin himself. He's aware that after that day he didn't accept his any request for an audience, and he isn't going to meet him until he brings her here. He wonders why the hell is he so obsessed with her. Even though they say they're from a prestigious family, they're not that great. He is informed that they have reached. As he steps out of the carriage, thinks, so it turns out that it was true that she was running a cake shop. He steps inside as he looks over to the table and wonders what are these dirty things on the table. Still, he finds it weird to think that a woman who used to be a duchess is living in a place like this. He wonders if she's the one who made all these. He remembers that, come to think of it, there were rumors that she made and sold pies before marriage. He remembers Serena asking him if he heard that a while ago a bunch of pie crusts came in as a birthday present for the Duchess. He asked about it as she had mentioned that she went out to the streets to sell pies because of their debt, questioning how poor they must have been, and also stated that she guessed she wasn't ashamed. He wonders if she really made a pie and sell it. He knows that he always overlooked at it because he wasn't interested in it, realizing that he doesn't know anything about her. His attention turns towards the side as he notices Millie. She greets His Highness as he asks about Erin. She ponders that Erin would not like it if she knew that the Duke was here. She does His Highness that Erin went out to buy the ingredients, and it is going to take a long time so he can come back later. He remains quiet before he tells her it is all right and he will wait. Erin steps inside as she is aware that it took longer than she thought. She notices that it is getting late, so there is no one on the street. Wondering, it is so gloomy and decides to hurry back. She notices a man following her. She notices him and realizes that she thinks he had been following her since earlier. She decides to run away as the man approaches her and grabs her. She hits him hardly as she realizes that she has to run. She tries to run as fast as she can, but realizes that it is hard to run because the skirt is cumbersome. She suddenly slips and falls down on the ground. The man takes out a knife as he tells her that she is going to get caught anyway, so she should stop being annoying. She notices that he has a knife with him as she questions why is he doing this, and tells him that if he needs money, that she will give it to him. He responds that he does not need that. He points his knife at her and tells her that he is sorry for her, but he was ordered to do this from above and wishes for her to just die quietly as he comes after her. She closes her eyes as she wishes, for it did not happen. She slowly opens her eyes as she realizes that nothing happened to her. She looks towards the man as she finds him injured. He falls on the ground as a man asks her if she's all right. It is His Highness. She is astonished to see him as she questions how did he get here. He extends his hands towards her as he questions if she can stand up. She tells him that it is okay as she cannot get up by herself. She is aware that the strength of her legs is weak. He leans in towards her and asks her to excuse him for a second as he helps her stand up. He asks her if she is hurt before she tells him no, she is fine, and hangs him as she blushes. He questions if she is aware who he is as she tells him no and states that on the way back from shopping at the store, he suddenly attacked her. He mentions that it must have been just a robber before she is aware that he is not an ordinary robber, because if money was the purpose, then there was no need to harm her, and if he kill people, it will be more difficult to clean it up. Besides, she showed that he said someone ordered him to do it and wonders why is it her. A former duchess who was accused of adultery and was divorced. She knows if anyone who wants to hurt her before His Highness tells her that she must have been very shocked and mentions that it is better to hurry back to the store and rest. He extends his hand towards her. As he mentions it is dangerous, so he will take her there. She stares at him for a while before she refuses, mentioning now that she can walk on her own. Her legs are fine, so she will decline it. She also thanks him before he mentions she can grab his arm. He also slightly blushes as they walk together. She suddenly questions, But how did he know about this place, as he states that her sister-in-law did not come, so he asked the meat at the store where she went, and so he came around here, and he saw that his sister-in-law was being chased. Turning her that he is glad he found her before it was too late. She thanks him as she tells him that he saved her life. He then questions if he can come to the store and eat cake every day now. She mentions that he can do as he pleases. He blushes as he turns around and states that she should not go to places like this alone from now on, as it is dangerous. Mentioning that as for the errands, she has a maid, or she can hire a servant. She thanks him for his concern, as she is aware that when she first met him he was a little boy, and right now he looks like someone that she does not know at all. It is already the night time, as she thanks him for bringing her here, telling him that she would make sure to return the favor soon. The door opens as Raymond steps out and notices Calyx. He questions what is Calyx doing here with Aaron at this time. She questions how is his highest at the store right now, asking if he was waiting for her. He does not seem very happy to see her with Calyx, as he asks her what was she doing with Calyx at such a late hour. She sighs before she questions if she has to respond to that. He asks her what does she mean before she tells him that no matter who she meets or what she does, is there any reason why His Highness should know about that, telling him that they do not have any relationship anymore. Anxious as he questions, what is she saying? Calyx ends up smiling a little as he apologizes, mentioning that it has been a while since he saw His Highness make that face. He states that he just saved Aaron from being attacked by a robber and brought her back to the store because it was dangerous at night. His Highness questions if she was attacked too and asks her if she's okay. She tells him yes, thanks to Calyx, everything was fine, and thanks His Highness for his concern. She questions what it brings him here, as she mentions that she cannot keep standing, so they should go inside and talk about it before he remains silent and states no, that is all right, and she must be so tired, so he will come back next time. He also tells Calyx that he should go back to the mansion too. She wonders if he is worried about her, as she thanks His Highness and Grand Prince and asks them to take care. Calyx smiles at her as he blushes, telling her that he will be back tomorrow. She also asks him to come again. On their way back, Calyx calls out to Raymond and mentions that the person who attacked Aaron did not look like a normal robber. Raymond's attention turns towards him as he continues, stating that there's a body in the Black Valley Street of Bayard, so they should look for it carefully. Calyx tells him that he should better pay attention to his girl. Raymond leaves as he ponders that Calyx has been sitting quietly in the Northern Territories, and he suddenly came up to the capital, and it's bothering him. He wonders if he did not notice that he is not just an adopted child, but also someone who could be the blood of the royal family. 15 years ago in the Imperial, Raymond called out to Calyx and told him many times that he should not enter his father's study. Calyx apologized. He was 9 at the time and Raymond was 14. They were not siblings, but Raymond was young, so he was on good terms with Calyx, because he was a very cute kid. He tells Calyx that he messed up like this again, mentioning that he will sort it out so he can go as His Majesty has called him. Calyx questions Grandpa called. He leaves as he thanks him. Even if Colleagues inherits his father's Grand Ducal title and ranks higher than Raymond, he was the only real member of the royal family anyway, so there was nothing to be nervous about. Until he found the letter. My dear sweetheart Tiara. He wondered if it is Calyx's mother, Grand Duchess Tiara. He realized that this is his father's handwriting as he read that the roses planted in the palace garden are in full bloom, and the most beautiful flowers among them are sent to her as gifts. And he is always sorry that he cannot be with her. He heard that she's getting married soon, just as he cannot abandon the palace and the title prince and go near her. He understands that she cannot abandon the name of Rotten, and she will not have to send any more letters when she become the Grand Duchess. All the time he spent with her is beautiful and gracious, but he should cherish them as memories. Now he just wants her to allow him to be a man who loves her until today and wishes good luck in her new life. He realized that his father and Grand Duchess were lovers during their lifetime. Besides, there was a little exchange right before marriage. He then remembers that it is said that the Grand Duke Chase was pregnant at the same time as she got married and gave birth to Calyx, which caused him to wonder if Calyx could be the blood of the imperial family. He knew that his father adopted Calyx and made him his son, and actually it is not because he is the son of a close friend, but it could be something else. After a while, he goes towards the carriage as he tells the attendant that there is a robber body in an alley on Bayard Street and he should make sure that he identifies him. He sits inside the garage as he ponders that even if Calyx knows what the truth is, he is still not going to lose anything to him. Whatever it is, meanwhile, Erin ponders that she has to make a cake for Lady Katerina by this afternoon, but she lost all the ingredients that she bought, which causes her to wonder, what should she do? She's aware that since there is no chocolate, it is unreasonable to make sachertorte with the remaining ingredients. Delaying the deadline will undoubtedly damage the store's creditworthiness. She wonders if she should take another cake from the store. She steps out as she notices something. Meanwhile, in Duke of Labance, they are talking as they question will the Duchess really make a cake, as one mentions that she might not come as she does not even know how to cook. One of them states that is right, as she heard at opening the store was an excuse to secretly meet with that Knight Commander. One of them tells the other one to not talk about it in front of Lady Katerina. She realizes yes, that is right, as because Lady Katerina longs for the Knight Commander Ainz, right. Then they are informed that Erin is here. Katerina welcomes her and mentions that everyone was waiting, and she's looking forward to see what kind of cake she brought. She questions if 18 could take the cake out. Erin thanks her for trusting their store and ordering a cake. She mentions that she said she likes chocolate desserts, stating that the sachertorte she ordered is definitely a cake full of chocolate, and it is a little too flashy to show off at a tea party for young ladies, so she modified it in her own way and hopes that she will like it. The ladies are astonished to see it, as the question if that is a flour or is it a cream. Erin states that is a white chocolate. One of them questions if she really made a flour out of chocolate, finding it really amazing. I didn't respond. Yes, she made it after thinking about decorations that look good and have sweet flavors. She wonders that she is glad she was able to finish the cake on time. She was really wondering what to do earlier until she noticed that the chocolate and the ingredients they lost yesterday were in front of her door. She wondered who sent them, as she knew only 3 people knew what happened yesterday: His Highness Raymond, Calyx, and Melly. She's weird that Melly is sleeping. So the person who sent this, she knows that she'll have to double her gratitude to His Highness Calyx. And she wonders, how did he get to the front of the house? Wondering if she should make the fence higher. Katerina does not seem very happy about it, as she ponders that the reaction is better than expected, and she knows if the cake does not taste good, then it can be good, but that's when the lady states that the cake tastes very tasty, mentioning that she thought the chocolate taste would be strong, but not as sweet as she thought, so it is very good. They also talk about the apricot jam inside, mentioning that they cannot get enough of it even if she eats it every day. Katerina wonders if that is that much delicious, as she finds it impossible. She takes a bite as she is aware that indeed the unique bittersweet taste of chocolate is alive. And in addition, the sour and rich apricot jam is harmonized. It adjusts that heaviness and sweetness of the chocolate appropriately. She wonders if it is indeed made by the Duchess. Eating asks her if she liked the cake, as she remains quiet, thinking that actually she was going to point mistakes on whatever cake she brought. But she knows it is so delicious that she cannot lie about it. She mentions it is not bad and states that it was delicious. Eating smiles and mentions that she is glad Katerina likes it. The lady asks Erin if she can deliver any time she orders. Erin responds that she can do it when she is not busy. The lady tells Irene that there is a deep party in a week and she wants to order dessert. The other lady also wants to reserve a gift for the funeral. Someone else appears questioning if she can order a cake too. It is Serena, as she mentions that it has been a while since she last saw Erin. Erin also states that it has been a while. Serena asks Soviet, have she been stating that she really wanted her to come to the evening that she hosted, but it was a pity that she could not see her. Erin responds that it is okay. She does not want to go there anymore and asks if Serena would rather order a cake. So you never mentions that there is a ball at their mansion in 5 days. She mentions that if Aaron made that cake that day, then it can help promote the shop to other customers. Aaron grabs Serena's hand and smiles as she mentions that is a very good idea, causing Serena to flinch. She states that she will make sure to bake a delicious cake. Selena takes her hand back as she mentions that she is looking forward to it. She also states that she is glad Aaron was not too heartbroken, telling her that she was very worried that she would not be able to leave the mansion because of the affair with the Knight Commander. It is reassuring to see her looking so well. Aaron ponders the sarcastic tone of pretending to be worried. It is still the same. She smiles as she asks Serena to not worry. She mentions if Serena, who has lived like a married couple for 9 years with the married duke, is fine like this, then why cannot she come out of the house? The ladies are shocked as she continues that even though it was difficult, she gained strength thinking of Lady Serena's courage, and now she wants to be as confident as Serena is. Selena is frustrated as all of them are shocked. She also tells Serena that she will make a cake with all her heart so Serena can look forward to it. Serena clenches her fist as she mentions she will be waiting. Back in the bakery, Melly questions, if it is Serena's order, isn't it a trap? As even at the imperial family, she always made things difficult for her. Aaron responds, of course, it is a trap. Merely asks, so what do they do? Stating that the order is already placed now, so if she refuses before, Aaron asks her to not be afraid. Aaron states that she can roughly guess what Serena is thinking. Selena mentioned that she likes white chocolate and questions if she can order a cake made with white chocolate. Melly still complains, stating that she hates saying Aaron suffers even after work at the store. She cannot even rest until very late. Aaron mentions that it is a cake for the ball, but she cannot make it roughly. If she makes it well, then it will promote the store. Aaron also states that she is sick and tired of being attacked. 2 children steps inside the bakery. The older one questions if she can buy cake. Melly apologizes and tells them that business hours are over today, so she should come back tomorrow. The younger one states that they will just buy any cake and go out and asks if there is anything left. Her name is Shirin, and she gets teary, stating that she must buy it today. Aaron asks her if there is any reason why it should be today. She responds that today is her birthday. Aaron is aware that usually the parents will make a birthday cake at home, but she guesses that they are the kids who have a problem with something. She tells them that there is a sheet lifted she just baked to practice and cautions if that is okay with them. Do they want her to make them a cake? They become happy as they mentions yes please and thanks her. Aaron asks her what kind of cake does she likes. She asks if there's any taste that she wants. Shirin said she wants to eat a cat cake, so make it look like a cat. Aaron asks a cat cake. She responds yes. Her mother always made her a cat-shaped cookies. Her sister tells her that was a cookie and she cannot make a cat out of a cake. Shirin mentions, but she likes cats. Her sister tells her that they took their order late at night, so she should not be too fussy. Aaron ponders that since they're kids, they probably like the cute shape more than the taste, so she guesses she will be able to draw something. She tells her it is okay, and she will try to make it look like a cat as much as possible. Shirin becomes happy as she questions really. Aaron responds yes and questions if it would be okay if the cream was fresh cream. She responds yes as Irene asks Melly if she can give these kids a drink while she makes the cake. Melly responds alright. Aaron wonders that it is a cat. The simplest thing is to make the cake into a cat shape. She ponders that it is a birthday cake for a kid, but she wants to make something more memorable, so she has a different idea. She knows that is what Melly used to make food models. She wonders if there was such a method, and she knows if she uses it well, then it can work out. After a while, the kids are surprised to see the cake as Aaron states that she tried to make it as quick as possible and asks if the kids like it. They mentioned that it is very cute, and questions how did she make this, questioning if they can eat it. She tells them that she made the shape with marzipan and it contains sugar and almond powder. She tells them that she has some leftovers from making flower petals and asks them if they want to try it. She also states if they like it, then they can take it too. They take a taste of it as they find it very delicious. She tells them it is a relief and mentions that she will grab the cake separately, so they should wait a moment. The sister asks her how much is it, as she tells them that the money is fine, and she made the cake from leftover materials. The kid tells her that her parents always told her that when she buys something, she must pay for it. Erin ponders that she's a smart kid. Erin tells her to give her 1 silver. She tells her all right as they step out of the bakery, Erin mentions that the road is dark and questions if they can go by themselves. They respond that all they have to do is go down to Bayard Street. They work at the fruit shop there. They thank her a lot for making the cake late at night and mentions they will get going now. She asks them to be careful on their way as she's aware that she cannot believe such young children are working. She wonders if that is why the older sister is so mature. Melly tells Erin that she is done organizing the shop as Erin mentions that she did a good job. Melly mentions that Erin did not have time to make a cake, but she took care of those kids, stating that, as expected, Erin is kind. Erin states that she would like to ask her something about Serena. Melly asks what is it. Erin states that thanks to those kids, she just got a good idea. She talks about it with them, as on the other hand, Lady Serena receives a letter from Erin. She wonders that Erin wrote her a letter wondering what is she up to. It is mentioned that she will send her a beautifully made cake to decorate her food table with, and she thinks it would be nice if the guest could see the cake in advance before they eat it. Selena ponders that Erin speaks very well, despite being kicked out of the Imperial Palace. It bothers her stay in the capital and make cakes and sell them. She would. She thinks that she would have killed Erin last time. She's aware that Calyx saved her all of a sudden. She knows that Calyx is favored by His Majesty, so it is hard for her to do anything about it. She don't know why he keeps dropping by Erin's shop. She goes to Raymond and knocks on the door, mentioning that she has something to tell him. She thinks that if she cannot touch Erin directly, then she has no choice but to do something else. Raymond asks her what is going on as she mentions that there will be a ball tomorrow evening at their family mansion, and on that day she wants him to be her partner. He asks her why would he go in a place like that as she ponders that he has gotten colder since he saw His Majesty. She knows that he cannot refuse her request. As she mentions, it has been over a month since His Highness last attended a social event with her. And with all due respect, it seems that there are people who say that she has lost the love of His Highness. She is saying this because she is afraid that if such rumors spread, it will harm His Highness. She knows that because of his lover, he treated his wife coldly for 9 years and even divorced her. And if he abandons her now, it would be funny to see His Highness who has been at odds with the Emperor. She knows His Highness is a proud person, so he will not be able to admit that he's wrong. He mentions all right, he will be there, and asks her if that is all she needs. She smiles as she knows he cannot abandon her. She thanks him for his time and states that she will be going now, and she will see him tomorrow evening. She knows even if His Highness has grown tired of her, she has no intention of letting him go. The dresses and the jewelry shines as Calyx looks at each one of them. He asks Erin which one she thinks would look good. He states that he does not know anything about things like this. She thinks that she was definitely making a cake at the store just now. She wonders how did this happen. An hour ago at Erin's house. Calyx was trying to help her in baking, but this was harder than he thought. She kept assuring him it's okay, he doesn't need to help her. She thought she allowed him to come to the store at any time, but isn't that too often? She is aware if they stay close, there will only be bad rumors about him. She feels like she should warn him once more. Before she can say anything, Melly interrupts, informing her she's done with what she asked her to do, and she has got everything ready for delivery to Blenheim Street tomorrow. She thanks Melly and compliments her that she's definitely on track. She lets her know she can go to the ball tomorrow by herself, so she should take a good rest at home in the afternoon. Callux, who's listening to their conversation, questions his sister-in-law if she's going to the ball tomorrow. She says yes, and reveals to him that Lady Serena asked her to attend the ball as well. After a pause, he asks her so has she decided on a partner to go to the ball with. She replies no, she's going alone. He is surprised she's going alone. She explains there's no one she can ask for and she's not going to the dance. But to her surprise, he offers to go with her. Surprise contorts her face, followed swiftly by uncertainty, as she hesitantly raises her gaze to meet his. She reminds him he was the one who had commented that the ball was boring. He agrees, but then says he's interested in what she would do there. He questions she is not just going to go and deliver a cake and then return, is she? She assures him, of course she does not have any intention like that, but warns him if he becomes her partner, he will have to hear something he doesn't like. He questions him. By whom? She guesses the aristocrats at the ball, and perhaps His Highness Raymond. He then asks her, does other people's opinions matter that much? He believes who cares what others say. It's just someone else anyway, and he just has to do what he wants to do. He continues it's too tiring to live while noticing other people. He reminds didn't she get a divorce because she thought so too. He then adds, and if he becomes her partner, there is one good thing for sure. Isn't she curious to know? She asks him what is it. He reminds her Raymond's girl hates her so much, but if she was by her side Serena probably wouldn't even come close to her throughout the ball. She lets out a chuckle, affirming that is a little tempting. She thinks to herself, yeah, who cares what people say? She agrees to go to the ball with him. However, he then informs her he also has a favor to ask of her. He assures her it's not that difficult. First of all, can she go downtown with him? Back to the present. Erin thinks she did not know that the favor was something like this. She tells him if he was going to buy clothes, he should have told her from the beginning. He smiles at her, expressing honesty that he was afraid she would refuse his request if he said that from the beginning. She lets him know there are many people who have better sense than her when it comes to choosing a dress. She then asks him is he trying to give it to a woman, what kind of person she is, and does he know what she likes. Clueless about how to respond to that, he just nervously laughs at her. When he remains quiet, she wonders if she asked too directly. Maybe it's not just a gift for some friend, but a woman he likes. She states if he doesn't want to talk, it's okay, but he cuts her off, letting her know she's different from ordinary noble ladies, and in order to choose the one that suits her the best, she has to choose the best product. He continues that even if she finds the most expensive thing on the continent, if she doesn't like it, she will reject it. Her lips part in surprise, and she believes if His Highness the Grand Duke could say that she must be a lady from a very noble family. She wonders who it is. Would it be rude to ask? Her cheeks redden, thinking that if she's that picky, it's going to be difficult for her. She suggests how about giving a gift with the utmost sincerity or a gift with a special meaning. Callux halts the passing salesman, who flinches and displays nervousness in his presence. He declares he will buy all the dresses in his store and instructs him to bring all of the clothes that were put out as prizes right now. Once again, Erin's lips part in surprise as she thinks he's really going to buy all the dresses in the store. The salesmen pack all the clothes for them, and she thinks this amount will be equivalent to the Imperial Palace monthly budget. She asks him would not she be embarrassed if he suddenly sends so many presents. But he raises one of his own questions about who she is talking about. She states like it's obvious, the person who will receive the gift. He replies well, he did not expect the misunderstanding to be this steep. After all, if he does not clear it right now, she will get mad, right? Confused, she waits for him to clarify. He questions her. Why does she think he came here? She says he came to pick out clothes as a present for a woman, and that's why he asked her to accompany him. He laughs at her. She realizes it looks like it wasn't the case. She inquires then why did he really bring her here? He reminds her like he had said it wasn't a difficult request. He is getting all of these dresses for her, and he wants her to wear one of them on the ball day. She is so taken aback by this revelation that she keeps quiet for some moment, but then she asks in a small voice why. Uncertainty is apparent in her eyes as she questions why he is giving her something like that. Once again, he replies with one of his own questions. What does she think the reason might be? She thinks to herself, at first she came here because it was interesting, and then it was pure worry. She thought that giving help would just be an old affection, but now she finds herself inevitably immersed in contemplation. Looking at her, he sighs deeply. He then takes a step forward towards her and asks her if she does not remember the promise she had made to him a long time ago. Confused, she looks up at him and repeats the word promise. He replies yes, she promised that she would accept if he offered her dresses as a gift. Ainz de Brissia, known as a reputed villainess in the empire, and a former duchess who was divorced. His first memory of her goes back to when he was 13 years old. His Majesty had let him know in advance that when meets Ainz, he has to be polite. His Majesty also reminded him it wasn't the first time he was going to meet the person who would become his sister-in-law, and also warned him not to run away like last time because his brother had a face to keep. He promised his grandpa. By that time, Ainz was already nominated as his brother's fiancée. He was not as interested in her as a nail. He couldn't resist entertaining the idea of sneaking away. But he snapped out of his thoughts when the butler arrived, and informed them that the Lady of Marquis of Brissia had arrived. For him, at least, that was until she appeared in front of his eyes. She bowed in front of them, expressing her gratitude for inviting her to this event today, and introduced herself to him. The emperor told her it was going to be a long conversation and to come and sit down. Calux thought this person was the one who was going to marry his older brother. Half a year later, Ainz got engaged to his older brother. The following year they got married, and she entered the imperial palace. However, as soon as the wedding ceremony was over, Raymond proudly placed his mistress in the imperial palace too. Everyone was busy mocking and criticizing the duchess, who was left alone. Ainz, however, did not care about the rumors and silently fulfilled her duty in the imperial palace. Calux was pissed, wondering how long the woman brought by his brother Raymond was going to stay here while she kept throwing parties every day while his sister-in-law always seemed to be busy. As he passed by, he saw the lights of the kitchen were on. He wondered who was up at this late hour, because usually by this time all the servants would have gone back. He peeked through the narrow gap of the slightly open door and caught sight of Ainz. His foot accidentally brushed against the door, prompting Ainz to become aware of someone's presence, causing her to inquire who was there. He opened the door and revealed himself. He saw her making lemon pie and asked to confirm it. Ainz smiled with a shy face. She told him that she suddenly had a craving for lemon pie in the middle of the night, so she was making it for herself. She had also told him she learned the recipe from her mother, as she always said that sweet food comforted her when she was having a hard time. He wondered if her life at the imperial palace was that difficult. He responded that it was the first time he came to know that his sister-in-law knew how to cook. She couldn't help but express her dream to her that when she was young she wanted to be the owner of a cake shop. It was her dream to open a small shop in a secluded place and live surrounded by deserts every day. She then decided she was going to share her pie with His Highness, but on the condition that he was going to keep today a secret. He teased her that if she thought he was going to keep his mouth shut with a bribe like this, she smiled too and told him yes, if he ate this, they were going to become accomplices. Blush creeped across his cheeks as he thought about her voice that talked softly as if it was whispering, and a bright smile directed solely at him, the heat that rose from the end of her gaze that touched him. It was a feeling that slowly spread to his heart. When he took the first bite, it was sweet. It was the feeling he had never felt before. It was so sweet. He wished he could keep making her smile like that, but he guessed he was probably mistaken. Not long after sharing a pie with Ainz in the palace kitchen, the promise happened. He asked her if she would like him to buy her a dress. She asked him why he was saying that all of a sudden. The real reason was he heard some people gossip about her dress. It was so simple without any decorations that it could be mistaken for mourning clothes. They also talked about Lady Serena's dress that she had received as a gift from the Duke a while ago. and the jewels on that dress were decorated so well that she looked like she was the duchess. He did not want Erin to get hurt by those words. He told her he would give it to her as a wedding gift. She reminded him he had already sent her that. He then said he would buy it for her as a birthday present in a little while, as it was going to be her birthday. But she told him it was okay. He did not have to pay that much attention. But he was insistent, and he kept persisting that she should let him give her a present, and he wanted to give it to her as a gift. She then promised him that if he wanted to give it to her, then she would happily receive it. But he shouldn't push himself too hard. He did not know much about women's clothing. Originally, he was going to buy the entire dressing room. Then he thought she would not like it, so a custom dress would be fine for her. He had ordered the anxious maid to call the head designer of the imperial family to his room right now. He believed if he gave her something more fancy and luxurious than her usual dresses, no one was going to be able to ignore her then. If she was having a hard time because of them, then he decided he was going to be the one to make her smile. At that time, he believed it was possible, but that really turned out to be an absurd illusion. It was the day of Erin's birthday. He asked the designer if she finished the dress he ordered. The designer assured him that as he commanded, she made it using her budget generously, and the lady who would receive the gift would surely be satisfied. When the dress was brought in, his features twisted in surprise. The designer informed him craftsmen dyed and colored the light material, called angel's fabric, with a special technique. Each of the jewels decorated around the necklace was of the highest quality. She further continued that it was made in a more sophisticated style than the current fashion in the capital. And if a woman was to wear this dress to a banquet, she was sure going to set the trend in the social world. He appreciated them for their good job and ordered them to wrap it right now so he could give it right away, while thinking he was sure his sister-in-law would be happy to receive this. He really wanted her to smile just like the last time. Excitedly, he entered her room. She asked him what brought him here. She also had a dress in her hand. His gaze fell on it and he looked at it. He informed her that he got her a dress as a gift. However, her gaze fell on the dress in her hands. Her eyes filled with affection and happiness as she told him His Highness Raymond remembered her birthday and gave her this as a present. She also told him he was busy with work, so he sent an attendant to congratulate her in his place. She asked him once again what brought him here, but he remained quiet this time. He felt like he was covered in cold water to the top of his head. Even after receiving a dress that must have been chosen by an attendant in moderation, he realized it only when he saw Erin that she was still happy to receive that dress because it was given by his brother to her as a gift. He realized all matter what he got her, she would not be able to smile at him the way she smiled for his brother. This time he lied to her that he was going to prepare a present for her, but he couldn't get it on time, so he came because he wanted to congratulate her first and wished her a happy birthday. She expressed her gratitude to him and assured him that it was enough that he came to congratulate her, so he didn't need to worry about the gift. He then excused himself, stating that he just came to congratulate her and he has to go back now. On his way back, he thought he did not mean to confess anyway. He was not supposed to like her from the beginning, and he realized he wasn't the only one who thought so. When he arrived to meet his grandfather, who had called him, he asked her what kind of feelings he had for his sister-in-law. The emperor had heard that he was hanging out with Erin too much these days. He told him that she was busy taking care of the palace housekeeping, so he didn't need to bother her that much. He told his grandfather that he had visited her a few times because she seemed to be having a hard time. She did not show it, but she seemed to be in trouble because of Lady Serena. He asked his grandpa if he could kick her out. His grandpa remained quiet for a moment, but then told him if that was the way it was going to get solved, he would have done it far earlier, but what could he do about his brother's attitude? He also told him a royal marriage could not be decided by love alone. He was telling him this, but maybe Raymond would get his act together soon. He also reminded him Lady Serena's business was not his concern. It was obvious he wanted to say more, but he chose to keep quiet. His Majesty the Emperor could see it too, because he told Callux it was a very bad thing to like a married person. He told him the young lady would find out too, so he should stop caring about Aaron, and promised him when he grew up, he would find someone who truly loved him, and then he would marry Callux to the person he liked. He had been hoping countless times that if he wasn't allowed to keep it in mind, it would rather be a feeling that would pass by. He wondered if he didn't meet her, would this emotion disappear? That's what he thought, so he left for the Leuton estate. But then one day the news of his brother divorcing Aaron reached him. The messenger told him because of that His Majesty was very angry, and the Emperor's return schedule to the capital was moved up. He didn't think twice before wearing his jacket and ordering Peter to prepare to return to the capital. He initially had planned to just come once at her shop to meet her. He told himself it was just for once, just to make sure she was doing well. Back in the present, when she asks why would he give her these dresses as a gift, he thinks he makes excuses all the time, that he just wants to help and just worries for her, but the truth is he wants to be next to Aaron. But he can't but wonder what if his feelings end up being burdensome to her. Then he reminds her about the promise she had made him a long time ago, that she would accept if he offered her a dress. He lies that actually he was going to give it to her on her birthday, but he couldn't make it on time, and it has been bothering him the whole time. He adds she just happens to need a new dress for the ball, so he thought it would be nice to keep that promise. Now that she thinks about it, she remembers the promise, still she lets him know this is too much as a gift. He counters that if she has to go to a ball or tea party again later, one suit won't be enough, right? So she should just think that she is getting 8 years worth of birthday gifts at once. However, there is another problem: she has no place to store it. He says if storage is a problem, he will let her use an empty dressing room in his mansion, but she explains no, that is not the problem. He then shrugs because who cares, she doesn't need to live frugally anymore. He reminds her she is no longer in the imperial palace. She tells herself that's right, now she doesn't have to suppress her desires. She doesn't have to be a wise and thoughtful duchess, and she doesn't have to face anyone's judgment anymore. She finally agrees he is right, and this is no longer the imperial palace, and it would be okay to indulge in such extravagance now. She reveals she wanted to wear a dress like this to the ball at least once. She graces him with a genuine smile as she expresses she is going to be grateful for the gifts. He asks her really? She assures him really. Then he believes they should decide together on what she should wear tomorrow. He wants to know her preferences. She starts laughing, prompting him to ask why she is laughing. She explains she suddenly felt nostalgic. She then finally tells him she has always been weak against him. He asks in a small voice, is that so? She says yes, and it's nice to see him happy doing what he wants. That's why she couldn't refuse his request at all. His cheeks turn red as he exclaims he didn't know that. She raises her hands to let him know there wasn't anything special about it, but because Callux was so cute back then. She is quick to add she always wondered if having a younger brother would feel like this. She tells him it was a compliment. Soon Callux has lowered himself to be face-high with her when he says to say that a man is cute is not just a harmless compliment. She feels the shift in his easygoing demeanor and feels flustered. She promises him she will remember. He then changes the topic by asking so which dress she is going to wear. He shares his opinion that the one he saw earlier will go well with her hair color. But she is still standing in the same place, her hand placed on her chest, probably because she can feel her heart pounding. The day of the Blenheim family ball, Melly steps out of the carriage as she informs the attendant that she brought the cake Lady Serena asked for. A woman calls out to her, questioning that she's the one from Lady Erin's shop. She states that she has been waiting for her. She asks Melly where is the cake. Melly gives the cake to the attendant. As he takes it, the woman asks her if she has anything more to say. Melly asks the attendant to please carry it carefully so that the contents are not damaged, because it's a very important cake. She tells Melly that she doesn't have to worry about it. The cake shop is closed in the afternoon. As Erin closes the book, she ponders that she's done with the bookkeeping, and now she has to get ready to go to the ball. She looks at the dress as she wonders if the dress isn't too fancy. She knows that although she accidentally received a gift, as expected, she feels like she is caught up in Calyx's pace again. She is aware that it is Roth's 8th year of birthday presents. She thinks should she say it's a possible idea because it's a great war. She is sure that he spent a lot of money when he was a kid. She knows that he gave her so many dresses as a gift, and he's also going to the ball as her partner. She blushes as she wonders that doesn't mean much, does it? Someone knocks on the door and asks if Erin is inside. It's Melly. As Erin asks her to come in, Erin steps in and informs Erin that as she had wanted, the cake was safely delivered to the Blennens, and states if Erin doesn't mind, she'll help Erin dress up from now on. Erin responds that it is okay and she'll do it herself, stating that Melly is a store clerk and not her maid anymore. Melly informs her that it's hard to wear a dress like this alone. She asks Erin what is she going to do with her hair and makeup. Erin mentions that she was going to do it as smoothly as she did when attending an event at the Imperial Palace, almost invisible makeup, hair straighten up, no special decorations. Melly is surprised as she tells her no way, as it has been a while since she has worn such a fancy dress. Melly tells her that she has to dress up prettier than usual. Melly also mentions that there's Lady Serena at the ball today, and this time she'll appear dressed up as Peacock. Erin asks what does she mean by a peacock. Melly tells Erin to please allow her to help. Erin responds alright, then she will get her help. Melly then decides to go and bring the makeup tools right away. Melly does Erin's makeup and tells her it's done. Melly states that to match the dress and make it look bright, she tried a darker rose color than usual for the lip gloss. Melly asks Erin how did it feel. Erin responds that she does not think that it is her because it looks so pretty. She thanks Melly for it. Melly responds that she didn't do much, mentioning it is because Erin is always beautiful. She notices it's alright time and His Highness will be arriving soon. Erin states that she should get out now and Melly should go and rest in her room. Calyx stands outside as he waits with the carriage. Erin appears as she apologizes for the delay and asks if he waited long. He responds that it is alright as he just got there. He is mesmerized by her beauty as he glances at her. She asks him why is he looking at her like that. She suddenly becomes nervous as she asks if she looks weird, stating that Melly did dress her up and all. He tells her no before he extends his hands and slightly leans, stating that she is dazzlingly beautiful. She grabs his hand as she mentions that is what she has to say first. He thinks maybe it is because she is dressed up differently than usual. He is kind of nervous. He asks her if she should go now. While in the ball, Raymond is with Lady Serena as he ponders that he should not have attended a party like this. Right then his attention is turned towards the entrance as it is announced that His Highness Grand Duke Royton and Lady Barisha have arrived. Erin steps in as he becomes surprised. He blushes as he cannot believe his eyes. The crowd becomes surprised to see her as they mention that she is dressed so differently that they almost couldn't recognize her. Besides that the person who she came with as her partner, it's Calyx. Raymond seems to be having a frustrated expression on his face as Erin greets him. He tells her that he wasn't expecting her to attend this social event, much less show up with a new partner. She smiles and responds, but he came together with Lady Serena and questions, is this something that she cannot do? The crowd murmurs as he becomes frustrated and asks her what did she just say. Right then Calyx steps in and pulls her behind him as he questions, is there any reason why Lady Erin should not be here? He mentions that legally speaking, the divorce procedure has already ended, so he does not believe that he has the right to interfere. Raymond frowns as he calls out to Erin. Right then, Lady Serena holds him as she apologizes to him, mentioning that she was the one who invited Erin. She tells him that she met with Lady Katerina and saw Erin there, so she informed them of the ball, and she told her that she would surely make her a cake. She states that she could not just receive a cake, so she also invited her to the ball, mentioning, but to come with His Grace, the Archduke, something that she did not expect. Erin is aware that it is the same pattern again. She knows what Lady Serena is doing is that she's making it seem like she forced her in a situation in which she had to accept a cake from her, and she's used to letting this slide. But she knows this time she is not going to do that. Erin responds that is right. Lady Serena asked her to make her a cake, and in exchange, she will promote the store as a favor. She mentions that actually her story is quite busy, that they could not take any more orders, but Lady Serena earnestly requested so much that she could not refuse. She also asks Serena if she was able to receive the cake that she sent her. She mentions that she put a lot of effort into making her cake, so she is quite perplexed that it is not displayed anywhere in the banquet hall. Serena responds that she was told that the cake is stored separately in another room so that the guests can try the cake when they want to take a break. Erin responds that is great to hear. She mentions that it seems that the dancing has been interrupted because of their arrival and states they should take their leave now. The moment they both begin to step away, she realizes that was so satisfying. She did not know that she would be this comfortable saying anything that she wants, and she's aware she should have done this earlier. Calyx chuckles as she asks him why is he laughing. He responds it is nothing and mentions that she looks so excited. She asks him if she was too obvious. He responds it is fine as she looks more comfortable now than back when she was in the palace, so it is all right. She looks at him as she ponders. It is because of his grace that she had the courage to say what she wants. He suddenly calls out to her by her name. He welcomes her back to the beau monde as Erin. He says her name while staring into her eyes, Erin, causing her to blush. He questions if she will give him the honor of being her partner for the first dance. These blinding lights and a fancy dress, thus stifling gazes and glances from the people around them. She knows if it was her from the past. She is certain that she would have declined the hand he has extended, but from now on she tells him of course as she holds his hand, mentioning that she will be in his care. She is aware that she shall do as she wants. The music plays as people chatter. They dance as Erin tells him that he's quite the dancer. He asks her if she assumed that he would be a terrible dancer. She tells him that is not the case at all. It is just that she has never seen him dance before. He states that there were not many people he would have wanted to dance with until now, causing her to blush. Lady Serena mentions that they are the only ones left here, and they should also dance. Raymond does not respond to her. As they are done with their dance, he kisses her hands as he mentions it was an honor. She becomes surprised as suddenly the people are shocked, questioning if they just saw what happened. Lady Serena claps her hands as she tells. If everyone does not mind, they should have a little break, and she mentions drinks and other refreshments have been prepared in a separate room. The cake that Miss Erin prepared is also there. Calyx tells her that he should wait for her here. She asks him if he is not coming with her. He tells her yes, as something is telling him that his brother wants to speak with him. He states that he already informed the attendant about what she asked of him, so she should not worry and just come back safely. She tells him. Alright, the cake has not been unwrapped yet, as Serena asks the maid why did she not take the cake out yet. As she mentions, she remembers she told her to do it. The maid apologizes, mentioning that the maid must have forgotten because she was busy. Lady Serena apologizes to Erin, stating that she should have checked the cake in advance. Erin tells her it is all right as it is told that big of a deal. Serena smiles and thanks her for understanding. She asks me what is she waiting for and tells her to hurry and open the box. Right as the maid removes it, everyone becomes shocked. They question if that is the cake that was made by the Duchess. The people began to chatter as they question, is not that blood on the cake? Lady Serena smirks as she looks at Erin and asks what is with the cake. Erin is aware that not a single thing exceeded her anticipation. People ponder that the former Duchess, who was enraged by being banished from the duchy, held a vendetta and forced Lady Serena to order a cake from her. They state that she must have sent a cake covered in blood in an attempt to ruin the celebration. The other one states that they are certain that she was aiming to make up a story like this. Whatever could have happened to the cake? She states that she sent over the cake before dinner and asks if Lady Serena did not check it personally. The maid tells her that Miss Serena did not have the time to check it because she was preoccupied with supervising and overseeing the preparations for the ball tonight, and she had not opened the box with the cake since it arrived. and asks the maid she did not open the box, mentioning that she is sure it was fine when she sent it over here, and states perhaps one of the maids made a mistake upon bringing the box in. The people does not stop chattering as Serena tries to act innocent. Aaron tells her it does not matter anyway, as that was just a cake model. Lady Serena suddenly questions, what does she mean by that? That it is a cake model? She questions where is the real cake. Aaron responds of course she brought it herself, considering that Lady Serena invited her personally, as it's only polite that she brings it herself too. She also mentions that she made it clear in the letter that she sent that she would be bringing a model ahead of time. Lady Serena is shocked as she questions if that is what she meant when she said she shall make her a beautiful cake to complement her banquet table. And if the guest couldn't see and appreciate the cake before they eat it, that would be nice. She mentions that aside as if a cake is left out for too long, the cream would melt. And for the events in the Imperial Palace, cake models are always used to decorate the banquet table, while the real cake is served for tasting. She continues as she mentions, since Lady Serena insisted on white chocolate, which is sensitive to heat and wells easily, she assumed that she would be aware of this fact as it is common knowledge. She mentions that was thoughtless of her. She also states given that Lady Serena have never previously organized, and even at the Imperial Palace, it is understandable that she is unaware of it. Lady Serena is filled with embarrassment. Right then, the attendant arrives, mentioning that he has brought what Aaron asked her for. I didn't mention the real cake has arrived just in time. She tells Serena if it is all right with her, can she replace the cake model right now? She states such an unsightly thing should be taken care of as soon as possible. The people find it very beautiful. They wonder what it tastes like as it looks like, as if it would melt in their mouth. They know, right, that the white chocolate ganache in between the layers of cakes works perfectly together. This cake's quality is comparable to the ones made by the Imperial Palace patissiere. Personally, they like this one better than the one that they ate in the palace, as this one is not too sweet. Aaron asks Serena how does the cake taste, is it up to her liking? Serena responds that it is delicious and thanks her as she calls her Miss Aaron. Right then Aaron corrects Serena and states she should call her Lady Aaron, so questions. What does she mean? As Aaron states, the title that she's calling her with is wrong, as it may not matter in private, but calling her Miss Aaron instead of her title is impolite to do so in an official setting. She also mentions that she is giving her this advice since she will have to learn proper manners and imperial etiquettes once she enters the palace. Serena becomes really furious as she responds. She understands. On her way back to Calyx, she calls out to him as he asks her if it went well. She responds everything went well. As he smiles, he states that he is glad that she looks quite satisfied. She asks him how about him. He must have had an earful from His Highness Raymond because of her. He responds not at all, and states not much had happened. He questions what does she plan to do now. As the banquet is still in full swing, she tells him that she plans to go back now. He places the glass aside as he tells her he shall take her then. He holds her hands as well in the carriage. She thanks him for coming with her today. He tells her that he danced and had fun at the banquet thanks to her. So should she come to something like this again, she should call on him again next time. She tells him that she shall do that. She glances to the side as she questions, are they not going home yet, as she does not think they are going the right way? He responds, but they are going home. As he states they are on their way to his estate. She is confused as she questions what. He asks her why. As he states that after a ball, sharing a simple meal together is customary before returning home. She becomes nervous as she responds, that is right. She thinks that she was taken aback because she thought he meant something else. She knows maybe it is because he has been too nice, but his kindness towards her is making her feel a bit strange, if she had to describe it. He mentions that he has already prepared a light meal for them at the estate. He hopes it is to her liking. They reach the place, as she is surprised to see the place and everything. He questions how is it, and if she likes it. She tells him yes, she does, as it is truly beautiful. He looks at her as he smiles. He mentions that he has had a few things prepared, but he is not sure if it will match her preferences. She wonders that he said that he prepared a simple meal, but it is a feast. She knows to prepare this much in a short time. It must have been difficult, and he truly is attentive and kind. A sherbet is served as she ponders. It's for dessert. She wonders if that is strawberry syrup drizzled on top. She takes a bite as she likes it. He asks her if it is good. She tells him yes, it is truly delicious. She mentions this would be a nice addition to the menu at the store since the weather is soon to become hot. He tells her that she has become like a cafe owner completely, and even now she is thinking about her business as he laughs. He calls her as his sister-in-law. She becomes surprised and questions if she is his sister-in-law again. She tells him that he called her Lady Erin earlier. He informs her he did not want to call her that there. She states that she had a pleasant day today because of him and thanks him once again, also mentioning that she has not felt this comfortable in a long time. She ponders that she got married and became a duchess, entered the imperial palace and got divorced, bought a store and opened a cafe. Reflecting back on it, she knows a lot has happened in such a short while. He calls out to her and questions what is on her mind. She responds, she's thinking just that. Time seems to be fleeting. She tells him not too long ago, she never even expected that she would be leaving the imperial palace and starting her own cafe. If only she was a little quicker. She would have liked it if her parents were able to see the way that she is now when they were still alive. He remains silent before he mentions he actually has another gift prepared for her. She asks him what is it. As he tells her, he chanced upon it before at an antique store, and thought about giving it to her when they meet again. She opens it as she becomes surprised. She ponders a familiar melody that still lingers in her ears and a familiar box that looks well kept despite being old and worn. She knows she is not mistaken, and this is a gift her father made for her mother. A music box that is only one of its kind, to her beloved wife. She was forced to sell it when their family was deeply in debt. She asks him how did he know about this. He tells her that she was the one who told him about it back then, and she let him listen to this song. He asks her if she remembers as she thinks about that time when she made lemon pie in the middle of the night with him in secret. She was humming on a song. As she asked her what song is she humming, she told him this is a song by the audience and her mother used to hum it a lot, so she heard it frequently that she started to like it too. He told her that it has a unique melody. She told him that it is a song that has only been passed down mouth to mouth, so it changes slightly depending on who is singing it. Because of that, her father had a hard time writing down the notes as he made this music box with the song her mother sings and gave it to her as a gift. He questioned if he made it on his own as he wonders what it looks like. She told him that it would be impossible to see it anymore because she lost it by mistake. She questioned if he remembered that. Losing her parents and getting divorced, she thought that she lost everything. But now that she has nothing, she can finally start anew without holding back. The last 9 years that she left behind in the past now seems so meaningless. She constantly felt alone. She tells him that he looked just like a magician right now. He laughs as he asks her what. She mentions that he is always helping her whenever she is having a hard time or going through something troublesome. He asks her, do not people usually call someone like that a prince? She tells him that he is right as he is just glad that she liked his gift. He calls her sister-in-law before she asks him to call her Erin. He suddenly becomes surprised as she tells him she is no longer his sister-in-law. She smiles before he tells her all right and calls her Erin. The same night at the Brennan's mansion, Raymond steps forward and finds Calix. He asks Calix what is he scheming by coming here to the ball with Erin. Calix questions what does he mean by scheming. He states it is uncomfortable to hear that coming from him as he just came to the ball with her because she asked for a favor to be partners. Remote states except for the imperial palace. She is a woman who does not know anything about the world, so she could not have asked him for that favor. Calix repeats his words that she does not know anything about the world. Is that what he thinks? Raymond becomes angry as he asks if he means to say that he knows his wife better than he does. Calyx corrects him and states it is Lady Erin. He questions if it is not strange for Raymond to be calling her his wife when he is already divorced. Raymond is filled with frustrations as he ponders that he and that guy, they're both getting on his nerves. He bangs the door loudly enough to get Serena's attention, who then asks him what he is doing. Raymond doesn't bother replying, instead interrogates if she was really the one who invited Erin. She is unable to respond to that. He tells her to stop this nonsense as he mentions that he is already aware that she had ordered someone to kill Erin last time, so this is the last time that he is letting her off the hook. She tells him that she just thought that if she were going to tell, His Majesty would allow her to marry him. He asks her if she thought that the old man would allow her just because of that. He continues that he did not even permit her to marry him, even when he was not married to anyone. He calls her such a fool and clearly wants her to never, ever touch Erin again without his permission. He slammed the door shut as Serena trembles as she is filled with frustration. She begins to break things as she yells, "Just what is with this woman? Did not he always say that she was just a boring and gloomy woman?" She wonders how dare he say that to her. Now it has come to this point. Brennan hesitantly requests her to not be too angry, and she shall take this matter into her own hands. He screams at her that His Highness warned her not to touch that woman. So what makes her think she can handle this? She recommends what if they change the way they do it. This catches Serena's attention, who questions what she means by that. She says what if they just let that woman leave the capital on her own? On the other hand, Calyx asks once again if she is certain it's fine that he doesn't escort her home. She assures him it is all right, and he even is letting her use his carriage to escort her home. She teases him that he is surprisingly a worrywart. She then expresses her gratitude for today and tells him if he ever wants to come visit the cafe, she would treat him as well. He smiles at her and lets her know he's looking forward to it. After a while, Erin is informed she has arrived. The carriage in front of the store grabs her attention. Her eyes widen when Raymond steps out of it. Raymond's eyes narrow when he realizes the carriage is bearing the seal of the Royton family. He thinks she was coming from Calyx's estate at this time. She gets to the point and questions him what brings him here. He wants her to spare him a moment of her time. They are already settled on the chairs when she asks him again to what she owes his visit, and she hopes he can wrap it soon as it is already getting late. He glares at her, but lets her know he was told that something unpleasant happened to her today at the ball because of Serena. He continues that she has not only been bothering her today, but also in the past. But now she can rest assured since he has already warned Serena to make sure that this does not happen again. She just says all right. He wants her to tell him if something ever happens again, as she should not hold it in foolishly. She closes her eyes, clearly wanting to be done with this conversation, and asks him is that everything he wanted to say. She thinks to herself, just who does he think is the reason why she endured it for all these years? She then dismisses him because it is already late. If he is finished with his business, he can take his leave, and she will be busy with the cafe tomorrow. Here she was wondering why he had come at this time and what he had to say. She believes he seriously lacks common sense, nor does he have any consideration. She abruptly stands up to open the door, and she then questions should she also have to tell him where the door is. He suddenly grabs her hand and exclaims he has something to say. Erin tells him to let go of her this instant, or she shall call upon the guards. To this, Raymond stares back at her in silence. He tells her he had never thought that he'd get treated like this when he had just come back here to apologize. In her mind, Erin wonders if this is supposed to be the attitude of someone who is apologizing. She mentions to him how he had come here to her home in the middle of the night without even informing her. She asks if he was really expecting her to give him a warm welcome. This causes him to wince and ask if he is a stranger to her now. To this, Erin asks if he can tell her what else there is between the two of them then. Raymond says that he is unsure why, but the Emperor seems to think the two of them are still husband and wife. The Emperor had said that he won't acknowledge the divorce until Raymond brings Erin with him and asks for permission in person. Raymond continues that he has been requesting an audience with the Emperor for weeks regarding work. but the emperor refuses due to this situation. He tells Erin that he needs her to come with him to the imperial palace. In her mind, Erin finds it predictable how this was Raymond's real business with her from the start. The dude does not care what has happened to her and Serena. Of course, there was no way he'd come out all this way to apologize to her. Erin asks him bluntly why she should even do this favor for him then. This seems to stun the bird brain. Erin says that the legal proceedings surrounding the divorce have all been completed, and that His Majesty has not spoken to her about it, so it seems he has acknowledged this divorce. The Emperor even said he would not force her to return. She then says that it's Raymond's fault the Emperor is upset since he went through with the divorce without His Majesty's permission, and that she is under no obligation to return with him to the imperial palace. Raymond continues to make that dumb face. He then starts to get riled up. He questions why she is speaking to him in that manner. He mentions how she also agreed to the divorce and asks why she is holding a grudge against him now. Man, all that hair dye must have really seeped into this dude's head. The silver poop then goes on a rant saying he heard from Calyx that Erin had asked to be his partner. He questions Erin if it felt good when she humiliated him like that. Erin wonders why he would even bring this up now, and then tells him that he's speaking as if she was not supposed to attend the ball with Sir Calyx. The silver poop then gets big mad, and says it is obvious since it has not been long since they had a divorce, and asks if she even thought about what other people would say. She then questions why someone who had another woman during his marriage is even worried about what others are saying. The silver poop then yells asking how is that situation even similar to this. Erin then says she guesses it is unfair to compare His Highness's situation to hers since she is happily divorced after all. The silver poop stares back at her in annoyance. He then says even if he were to concede and allow her to be with another man 100 times over, he still would not let her be with someone like Calyx. Erin wonders why he opposes this so much, as it does not seem like a case of simple bad blood. She questions him openly about how he used the word allow. She tells him that who she chooses to meet is no longer any of his business, and that she found him saying all that to be very unpleasant. She starts to open the door and tells him goodbye then, ushering him to the carriage that is parked right outside. He stares back at her in silence. As the silver poop walks back out the door, he warns her saying that he will be back. Wow, shiver me timbers, so scary. The carriage then leaves the location in a dash. We see that it is nighttime atop the building. As she moves back inside, she takes a deep breath and notes how tiring that was. She decides to go upstairs and shower before getting some sleep. That is until she hears a rustling sound. She notes how that noise was coming from the kitchen and calls out asking if that is Melly. In the kitchen there seems to be nobody, as there is but silence in the room. As she continues to look, she wonders if she heard that wrong. After having left, we see that the window is still open, unbeknownst to our protagonist. It is now morning at the residence. Melly can be seen saying good morning to Miss Erin. Erin apologizes for waking up late today, as Melly says it is all right. Melly mentions how yesterday must have been very tiring for Erin and says she should just rest up for today. Erin tells her that she is fine and that she can make at least 2 or 3 desserts today. Erin then asks if Melly by chance put away the chocolate flowers that were placed near the window yesterday. To this Melly says she has not touched a thing. Melly says that when she woke up the window had been opened and that she thought Erin forgot to close it after cleaning up last night. Erin recalls not having left them open though. Melly then mentions how maybe a cat came in and ate it, to which Erin wonders if cats can even eat chocolate at all. She then wonders to herself if an animal really took the chocolate, as that's quite strange. The recommended menu item of the day is then shown, which is a very scrumptious looking crepe. Also seen on the thumbnail, by the way. A lady holds up her fingers and orders 2 of the recommended menu items and a scone. Erin welcomes Miss Peony back, to which Miss Peony says that the desserts here are so good that she could not help but come by again. She can't stop eating it, so much so that her dresses don't fit anymore and she had to get new dresses. Aaron thanks her for the patronage and tells her to take a seat for now as they get her order ready. Peony then says that she wants them to go this time as she needs to be home. Melly asks Aaron if she may do the wrapping, to which Aaron agrees. Miss Peony then mentions how time really does fly, and how it's almost the summer festival, to which Aaron questions if it's really that time of year already. Side note, but time really does fly too fast. How is school almost over already, and I have to graduate? The summer festival that gets held in the capital lasts for quite some time, from the beginning of summer to the start of the rainy season. The most famous of the events during which is the night festival, where people from all over the country try to sell unique and hardly ever seen goods. Due to the festival mostly being attended by just commoners, Erin had avoided going to it when she was at the Imperial Palace, since she was worried people would criticize her. She wonders to herself if she should go have a look-see now, since she is no longer self-conscious. Miss Peony asks if Erin is going to the festival, to which Erin says yes, but only if she has the time. Peony then questions who Erin is going with. Erin seems confused and mentions how she was thinking of going alone. Miss Peony tells her that it's no fun alone and asks if Erin has someone that she can go with. It's very clear at this point that Miss Peony loves to gossip. Erin thinks to herself, wondering if there is someone, and recalls how Calyx asked her to call him if she was planning on having fun. In her mind, Erin notes how it cannot be Calyx, since it would be big trouble for him if others found out he went to a commoner's festival. Especially since he's gonna stand out no matter where he goes. Erin then wonders if Melly would be annoyed if Erin asked to go with her. The bell then rings as Erin slowly says welcome to a guest. A dude in a red suit then asks if Erin is the owner of this restaurant. Erin tells him yes she is, and asks what is the matter. She stares at the brooch that is on his suit and notes how it has a tower symbol, which means this dude is likely a low-ranking official. Red Suit clears his throat and says he is an inspector and has come to check over the hygiene of this store. This confuses Erin as she mentions how this store was checked right when it opened, to which the Red Suit says this is a surprise inspection. Erin finds this plausible, since if they were to inform her of it beforehand, then there'd be no point to having surprise inspections. Erin asks if he would like to start at the kitchen then. We see the pair walking across the cobblestone path outside. Red Suit comments about how unusual it is for the kitchen to be outside. To this, Erin tells him that while drinks get made inside the store, there is not enough ample space to also make desserts there. She wonders to herself if this would be a problem. She could try to expand the store with construction so they can have a kitchen closer, but right now there's not enough money to do so. After they arrive, she tells him this is where all the food gets baked or cooked. We see the sparkling clean stove and the cabinet full of polished dishes. As the guy looks around, Erin calls it a relief that she actually cleaned this all up in the morning. Red Suit says this is not as bad as he had thought. Erin then questions if she should get all the cooking equipment and utensils out for him as well, to which he says that won't be necessary. He then turns to her suspiciously and asks if there is anything else. She wonders if he wants to check the food or something, and then asks if he would like dessert. She mentions that there is some cake they are selling, to which he yells that is not what he means. He then mutters that she is a frustrating person. He tells her that she may not be aware since she just opened this restaurant, but that if she wants to keep conducting business in this district, then she needs to show sincerity. He tells her not dessert, but a different kind of sincerity that she must know. Erin wonders if this doofus was looking for this from the start. She then notes how, thinking about it now, the store didn't have any special conditions that could have warranted such a random search. Also, the previous health inspector actually brought documents and pens, unlike this doofus. The doofus tells her that he cannot write up a good report for her when she has not shown any sincerity. He asks her what could happen if he told the government office that there was poor hygiene here. To this, Erin bluntly asks if he wants some money right now. The doofus tells her that they are now talking the same language. He tells her money is great, but he also would be cool with some jewelry. Erin then tells him she understands then. She then asks what she should do as she does not have enough for a bribe. This stuns the dude. She tells him that he can leave if he's not here to look at sanitation and tells him to write whatever he wants. He tells her to wait, saying her store could close this month if he reports it, and asks if she's really okay with that. Aaron wonders why this guy is embarrassing himself like this and tells him to do whatever he wants. She asks if it really would bother him if she doesn't give him a bribe. This leaves the dude stunned again. Aaron notes how a bad report could lead to the suspension of a store, but that if people saw bribery taking place, then there might be jail time too. To give or to not give are both bad decisions either way. She notes that he is probably not trying to get a bribe, but is setting a trap. Aaron tells him she does not know who ordered him to do this, but that he should stop interfering with business and get out. She mentions how she won't play along with his whack scheme. The dude then yells that she will regret all this. As he leaves, Aaron wonders to herself if someone put him up to this. She then notes how there is only one person that she can recall that would do this type of stuff. Aaron notes how that girl was humiliated at the ball yesterday and wonders if she's not getting tired of all this. Aaron then walks in asking if Melly waited long and if the store was busy while she was away. Melly turns her head to say that everything was fine. Melly then mentions how the inspector didn't look happy when he left and asks if something is wrong. Aaron nervously looks back at Melly and starts to speak. A time lapse happens, and Melly can be seen saying there really are still people like that out there. Aaron agrees. Aaron continues that she had heard before that officials do ask store owners for bribes, but did not expect this to happen to them. Melly then asks Miss Aaron if everything is going to be alright, and what if the dude were to leave a negative report. Aaron says that is fine since the towers usually allow owners an opportunity to defend themselves, and that they can appeal before a suspension gets handed to their store. Melly then mentions how they don't even know if the office is a part of all this too, and asks if they should try asking somebody they know to help. Aaron ponders about this, as Melly continues to say they could ask the Archduke since this could lead to the situation being resolved quicker. She mentions how he sometimes may not act the part, but he is a man of high status. Aaron is speechless for a moment before then mentioning how she is already very much so indebted to Calyx, and that it would be hard for her to ask for another request. As they talk, a shoe can be seen stepping into the store. We then see the shoulder of a man. Melly then asks what about Ainz. Aaron questions this as Melly mentions how that is the knight's commander and he should know many people within the government. Melly also mentions how Aaron got presents from him last time and that they seemed so close, so she's sure he'd help Aaron out. A man then speaks up to say excuse me. He mentions how it is rude to barge in so suddenly, but that he had checked to see if anyone was here, but that there was nobody at the counter. He then asks if they happen to be talking about him. Aaron mentions that she hasn't seen Ainz in a while and asks how things are with him, and if he's been very busy. Ainz stares back at her with a smile. He then tells her he's been doing well and asks if things are okay with her. He then asks if she had attended the ball yesterday at Brennan's. He may have heard about that, so he came here today because he was worried. Aaron wonders if everybody has now started to speak about what happened. She then tells Ainz that she is alright, and it all worked out fine, so there's no need to worry. Aaron says people should be more worried about Lady Serena instead. Ainz wonders why that lady still tries to bother Aaron. To which Aaron says she wonders about that as well and mentions how that girl already has Raymond like she wanted and is still doing all this for some reason. Aaron then asks Ainz if he only came to see her for this reason. Ainz tells her that actually he had something else he'd like to speak to her about. She asks what that is. Ainz is nervous for a moment before then asking Aaron if she'd like to go with him to that upcoming festival. My man is sweating and blushing all over saying this. Aaron reiterates the word festival before Ainz says there was no secret meaning behind what he said. He mentions that a lot has happened to Aaron, so he was hoping this experience could be a great change of pace for her. He mentions how if she feels uncomfortable about this, then she can't refuse. He then starts to mention how this could end badly as others could spread rumors if they are seen together. Aaron is silent for a moment before then saying let's do it, which leaves Ainz stunned. Aaron tells him she has actually wanted to go to that festival for quite some time now, and that they should go together if he does not mind. She mentions how there are many that want to gossip, but that she has made the decision to not care about it anymore. The eye of Ainz sparkles at the sight of this strong and independent woman. He is about to speak, but Melly then barges into the room out of nowhere calling for Miss Aaron. Aaron asks her what is the matter, to which Melly mentions how a letter has just reached their store. Aaron has been invited to a tea party by some noble. The letter opens with a greeting to Lady Brizia. Ainz mentions how the letter carries the crest of Florence County. The letter continues to say they have heard about the great cakes Aaron has made for parties. They are also aware that this letter is very late, but still would like to ask her to attend that tea party tomorrow at his mansion. They also have a favor to ask from her. Aaron mentions how it looks like a countess wants her to attend the tea party and wants a favor. Ainz asks if Aaron even is acquainted with the countess or the count. Aaron says not at all, but that she has met the count a few times when he was an imperial official. She has not met his wife though, since she rarely attends any functions. Aaron thinks that this request must be associated with the shop's skills. Aaron does worry a bit since her last few orders did not have good intent. Ainz silently ponders about this for a moment. He then asks if he should go with her. He continues to say that he just so happens to have free time tomorrow, and that if it's all right, he would be more than willing to escort her. If he was with her, he'd also be available to help if something were to come up. To this Aaron agrees and tells him to please do so. The day passes, and we now move to the Florence mansion on the very next day. We see both Ainz and Aaron strolling together from a carriage. A man greets them saying it's an honor to get a visit from them. He tells them that it will be this way and that the madam is awaiting their arrival. Inside we see the countess as she greets both Aaron and Ainz. Aaron thanks her for the invitation as the countess says this is nothing and thanks them for showing up. Aaron mentions how she heard about a tea party, yet there's hardly any guests. The countess says that honestly she prepared a separate seat since she has a favor to ask of Aaron. She pours out the cup of tea and then says that she is only going to be in the capital for 2 weeks from now, so she had to discourteously invite Aaron in a hurry like this. Aaron says this is fine before then saying she actually brought the countess some cakes and madeleines. The countess smiles as she thanks Aaron and mentions how she's been wanting to try the desserts from Aaron's shop that people rave about. Aaron questions this notion and asks if rumors have spread then. The countess says yes, and how she heard that Aaron's desserts were delicious and very unique. Aaron tries to downplay this, but the countess says everyone in the capital is wanting to try it, including herself. Aaron then mentions how the purpose of the invitation is as expected then, to which the countess says yes. The countess says her birthday party is in 3 weeks at this mansion, and she wants to have special desserts for her guests. This is the favor she wants to ask of Aaron. Aaron mentions how she said something special and asks if she had something in mind. The countess asks if Aaron had ever been to the south of this continent. Aaron says no and questions if she means the Ardian kingdom. She mentions hearing that only recently the road to Ardian opened after the battle with this empire. The countess says that is correct, and that she had only once before been to the south coast. Ainz then gets alert as he questions if the countess went into enemy lines. To this, the countess says it was just an act of childishness when she was younger though. Aaron then nervously starts to question the special dessert, as the countess says yes. The countess wants a dessert she tasted while in the south. Aaron ponders about the idea of desserts from the south and wonders what kind they even eat. The countess waves to her maid to come over. She then says that she received this a few days back and it's a flower referred to as jasmine. Aaron looks at it wondering, isn't it used as a tea leaf or something for flavoring? Aaron openly says it is her first time seeing the flower. The countess says yes, and that she just imported it from Ardian. She mentions how her mother is actually a noble in the south. She mentions how she avoids glares by telling everyone her mother is a noble from a different southern nation that's on an island. Erin thinks to herself about how Ardian has been their enemy for quite some time, and how there's nothing good about knowing this stuff. The Countess recalls how when she lived at the Imperial Palace, many would speak negatively about her mother being a northern minority. When she was younger, this would cause her many worries, so she once ran into a stowaway ship and decided to board on a whim. This ship was headed for the south. This information causes both Erin and Ainz to be stunned. The Countess says, looking back, that it's very shocking the daughter of a lord would do that, but that she was very curious about where her mom grew up. In the south, the sea was nothing like those beaches she played at on the west coast. There was beautiful sand and lukewarm sunlight. She had yet to ever see such beautiful sand in her life. She eventually got hungry and went to order food at some random store. The food, though due to its foreign nature and being far too spice-heavy, did not suit her taste. Despite this, there was one thing that did. To this day, she still cannot forget about that dessert she had. It was a cool and sweet cream dish, one that hid jelly that was chewy underneath. With each bite, you get the sweet flavors of a flower. At the time, she ordered 3 portions of the dessert, but still cannot tell what the ingredients were. She did not even get to ask the store owner about it due to a language barrier. Erin asks if the cream she had was whipped cream. The Countess mentions it was not, and that it tasted much neater than that. It more so resembled hardened milk, but was not very sweet. It was all contained within a frame that looked like a leaf. The Countess then asks if Ainz and Erin know what it was. Erin thinks about all the evidence and says not at all, to which Ainz also says he has no clue. The Countess says this is to be expected, but that this time she actually knows what flavors were used. Erin asks if it was the jasmine flower, to which the Countess says yes. It is a flower from foreign lands that passes over to Ardian after traveling across the South Sea. Due to the battle that ended recently, trade has risen back up again, and this product can reach their capital now. Erin asks to take a look, to which the Countess agrees. Erin opens the lid and notes the refreshing smell. As she holds it closer to herself, she tells the Countess that it smells very good. The Countess mentions how in the south it gets used for tea too. Erin thinks about how cool flowered tea is and wonders if she should put it in their store. The Countess mentions asking the chefs in this mansion to make the dish, but they all couldn't. What they made did not taste good when they kept the flower scent, and when they made it taste good, they had totally masked the flower's scent. The Countess asks if Erin can make a great tasting dessert while also retaining the scent of jasmine. Erin looks back down at the flower, saying it does smell good, but that it's too strong, so it wouldn't pair well with muffins or cake. Just like how the Countess had it the first time, maybe incorporating it into pudding or cream may work. Ainz then speaks up, asking if the Countess has any info regarding the cream. The Countess says she's tried all the creams used for dessert yet, but all of them tasted different. To this, Ainz mentions how there's a chance it's some material that they cannot obtain in this empire. The Countess says it would be fine if they are not perfectly the same dessert, but she just wants a dish that can bring out the jasmine scent. Erin is silent as she notes how she is very nervous, as she never developed a brand new dessert before. But regardless, this looks to be very fun. Erin then speaks up, saying she understands the assignment and will do her very best. The Countess thanks Erin for going through with this difficult request, and that she'll pay as much as Erin wants. Erin tries to say it is okay, and then she recalls how Count Florence was actually once an official at the government. Erin then calls to the madam. She asks that if she were to create a great dessert, could she ask the Countess's husband for a favor? Time passes as we see a fountain in the town. Erin asks Ainz if he ever saw that flower before, to which Ainz says he does not remember. He then tells her he is very sorry for not being able to help much, to which Erin says it is fine since she owns a dessert shop but doesn't know much either. Ainz questions if he can help her with anything else then, to which she ponders for a moment. She tells him that maybe he can visit the store in his free time to taste the dessert she makes. Ainz calls that a great request and says he will be there every day after work. Erin tries to tell him he only needs to come in once in a while. In the back of her head, she notes how handsome he is looking at him like this. She then wonders if Ainz has no intentions of getting married yet. Being the night chief, she is sure he gets all sorts of marriage requests from the best families. Ainz then asks where Erin is going, to which she says the grocery store. Ainz seems alert as Erin says she wants to see if there are more jasmine flowers and says that it's going to take a lot of practice to make a good recipe. Ainz then suddenly calls Erin's name and makes a move holding her left hand. This causes Erin to blush as she calls Ainz. Ainz just tells her to keep quiet for a moment. He then tells her that there may be people following them. 32 Erin thinks about how it's still daytime and that there are many people since this is a busy street. Why would someone be after them in a street like this? Erin whispers, asking since when have they been getting tailed. Ainz says since they left the wagon, and that he thought it was an illusion at first, but he's sure now. Erin asks how many people, to which Ainz says maybe 2, and based on how they moved they must be knights and not ordinary guys. Erin wonders if Serena is behind this, but also notes there's no way she has that authority. Raymond probably wouldn't come back like this since he wants to save face, so that only leaves one person. Ainz says he suspects they don't intend to harm them, but asks Erin what they should do now. Erin says to just let it be for now, which confuses Ainz. Erin says there is no need to get away since those guys are just watching, and that the trailers can't do anything during broad daylight like this. Erin does mention how there's something she's been thinking about. Ainz asks what, but Erin tells him it is nothing before grabbing his shoulder and saying they should hurry up now. Ainz loses his composure as he then covers his mouth. Later we hear someone saying that the jasmine is no longer in stock. The cashier says there's high demand for goods from the south, as Erin says this cannot be. She asks when the next shipment will get here, to which the man says the earliest should be like a month. Erin recalls that she has only 3 weeks before telling the man to have a nice day then. As they leave, Ainz asks if Erin wants to go somewhere else to have a look. Erin then mentions how she wants to go to Bayard Street to see the perfume shop. She thinks about how this is a back alley, so there is not much security. She notes how Ainz will be there though, and it's still daytime. As she opens the door though, she runs into a familiar face. At first she wonders who this is before then having a stunned look on her face. She nervously says it is Mr. Calyx.